Terry Jones.
Oh, this is great.
What's up, man?
What's happening, man?
All right, man. So this is actually your first trip to the new digs up here.
Yeah, yo, I love this
You
studio.
right?
This studio is nice.
You all right here?
It's beautiful.
You think?
It is beautiful, man.
Feel kind of the same? Is it different?
Oh, it feels bigger. It feels nicer.
That's because it is
Yeah,
bigger.
it is bigger, but you know what I mean?
It better feel bigger.
feels bigger.
I'm paying extra square footage. It better feel bigger, man. Shit. So what's up, man?
Not much, man. My allergies
December
been
of
killing
20.
me.
You haven't
Yeah.
been here since December of 20. I thought it was more recent than that, but
I think that's why we did it. It was like right on the cusp of like the new year, and I had like a project coming out
That's
or
right.
something. So
that's right.
you know, it worked out. But yeah, man, I'm glad to be here.
Last time, the last time you sat down with me, or since the last time you sat down with me, you've added recording artists to your resume.
Yeah.
Since then.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro.
And then you started showing up on social media with these like horrific, like very studio quality, Hollywood quality masks that were kind of fucking horrifying. I'm
absolutely.
going, either he's cracking up or he's a genius. I'm not sure. Maybe it's a little bit of both. I don't know, but something ain't right.
Yeah, the character is the One-Eyed King, and it's based off a anime called Tokyo Ghoul.
Okay.
And the character King Kaneki, or Kaneki Ken, is they put the last name first and then the first name last in Japan. He's going through things, and he turns into a character. It's called a ghoul in the anime, so he goes from a human to a ghoul.
Okay.
Through this transition, he's learning more about like the truth and deep philosophy of life. So for me, that character resonated for what I wanted to do.
Okay.
So yeah, the One-Eyed King. That's why you see that horrific.
How many jokes you got on that shit?
We say
The One-Eyed King. How many jokes did you get on that? Come on.
Oh man,
coming out of the gate. Come on, man.
Not many, man.
I can't be the only one to figure that.
Yeah, man. I think a lot of people were like, "Yo, this is wild," and you know, the person who did my mask, she was on the show Face Off on Sci-Fi.
Right on.
So she created the mask for me, and
It's pretty detailed.
Thanks. Yeah,
And horrifying.
It's dope. We blended 3 of like my favorite things that I wanted to. So it kind of has that rock element. It has that dark rap, the horror, the anime, the comic book vibe. It gives it a character. So the whole lore behind it and the reason it looks like that, where it looks stitched together, and is I killed my strongest demon and I wear the face now, and that's the One-Eyed King. So
You killed the strongest demon.
Killed my strongest demon, and now I wear his face so people can see it. And that's my way of saying internally, with the pandemic and everything that we went through in 2020, a lot of changes have happened in our lives. Damn straight. We had to face ourselves, a lot of times. We had to deal with a lot, face things within our internal. And for me, that was a big time to do so. And I felt like I slayed at least 95% of my demons.
Oh, no shit. During the pandemic? Wow.
And
as opposed to going the other direction, which a lot of people did.
Yeah. So that's why I wear it that way, and I wear it with pride. And the music has to match the face. You can't have terrible music with a face like that.
So was this something you were cultivating, or did you just woke up one day and said, "Hey, I think I want to do this"?
Like music, or the actual the lore behind the character?
Yeah, the character.
I would say I had a comedy album called Comedy Ghoul, and on the cover of that, my face is half of my face and half of the One-Eyed King.
Okay.
But you can't translate cool shit like that in comedy. Nobody goes to see a comedian that looks like Slipknot.
Scared as shit out of
You know what I mean? But you'll go see a musician that look like that.
I guess, yeah.
People go see Gwar. Yeah. They go see Slipknot. Why? They
when
go
I was a
see
kid, they saw Kiss.
Kiss.
Same thing,
I was getting there. Kiss.
Yeah.
So why did you guys like Kiss so much?
Because it was the band we never saw.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like Halloween and like.
It got you, right? It got you.
Yeah.
Paul Stanley with the star, and you got
everybody had different character.
Everyone had their
Gene
favorite.
Scared, yeah,
everyone
absolutely.
knew who they and you look at them, and then those characters turn into some big ass marketing.
They did.
The marketing behind Kiss
50 years later.
Comic books, video games. I remember being a kid and playing Psycho Circus. And I didn't even know much about Kiss as a little kid, but I knew who Kiss was, and I knew about the makeup. And it wasn't until I got
been like 98.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
yeah, so you got to think I was probably like 11 or something like that, 12.
Wow.
So when they were putting these comic books and all this cool stuff out, it didn't matter. You knew who Kiss was, and you would see them on like certain times on TV and shows and
Mad
stuff.
Television.
Yeah. So that's the One-Eyed King for me.
Got it.
I finally have a lane and a way to use the character in a sense that people go, oh shit, this works. And oh shit, the music's actually good. Oh shit, he's a really good lyricist. And boom, you go from there. Now it's marketable. Now, give it a couple years and people are going to see that face and they're going to know what it is the same way they know what Gwar, Slipknot, Kiss, and Priest, I'm sorry, Ghost, is.
Yeah.
Because you love that. We love things that draw us in, and it draws people in. There were people that were like, yo, this looks crazy, but man, the lyrics, the music, everything, it all matches.
Together. It tied together.
Yep. And it doesn't take away from, my artist name is still my name.
When did you write it? Did you write it before the character development, or did you have the character first?
I think the character was just there.
Okay.
Because the thing is, I like Batman.
Yeah.
I like comic books. Anyone that knows me knows that.
Dude, I saw an interview from 2015 I was watching today of you, and you had a Batman hat on then, too.
Yeah. Oh, the Tonight, the one I did down
he was drinking
Point
the
Park.
martini.
Yeah. It was water in there.
Does he still do that show?
I don't know. He should. I don't know if he does. I haven't
That's a
talked
good
to him in a while.
concept, man.
He was friends with a good buddy of mine, Mike Bazzelli.
Okay.
Mike Bazzelli is a genius writer.
Okay.
And very funny guy.
All
and
right.
Mike Bazzelli, that was his homeboy.
Okay.
And he said, hey, you should go do the show. But yeah, the character was always there. It's just nobody takes comedy serious to the level they take music.
Interesting.
And you, as a guy who's been in the music industry for a very long time, as we could look around this room at
A little bit.
but
I got lucky.
whatever, you're humble. But the reality is that like nobody's gonna go see. There's certain comedians that have dressed up and done things as characters, but then you stay as that character. You're stuck as that character. So it's
What
not.
do you mean? Give me an example. Of
Shit, there's like an alien dude that was doing comedy out Vegas dressed as a full alien. I don't know if he still does it, but yeah,
Who's the red-haired dude with the frizzy hair?
You talking about Carrot Top?
Yeah, he's the thing, right?
Well, Carrot Top used to do prop comedy.
You're right.
But like as far as
Gallagher.
Gallagher would be a character. There were a couple characters that dressed up and like painted their faces and stuff.
That's wild.
But you have to stay there.
Yeah, where are you going to go after?
Yeah, once you're that, you're that. Comedy doesn't
a little limiting.
Yeah, it doesn't give you the room to grow and flow like music does.
Okay.
But it does in the sense if you stay in comedy. You get what I mean?
Interesting.
So
Okay.
like when I started out, I did prop comedy. I did music cues.
We're going to go back to that. I want to hear about that.
Oh, yeah.
Love prop shit.
I used to take a book bag on stage, and I had this joke where I found this linen spray, right? But it was the same as the body spray that they have at Victoria's Secret. And I went and bought it, and I remember joking about it. And I had this whole joke about it was called Big Bitch Body Spray. And BBB. And and the joke was, if you got a big girl and you try to get her body spray, it's not going to hit all the spots that you want. Keep in mind, I was 18. And I was like, so instead it could go, or this could go, and it would kill every time. But I pulled out a book bag and
Would that work in 2022?
oh hell no, absolutely not. That's why I told it I was 18 when I did it before I get canceled. I'm not worried about that. But
No, you be the last person to worry about that.
But no, it's Prince. I know I've said this quote on here every time I've come, is the Prince quote, and that's he's never talked down to his audience, and when you don't talk down to your audience, they allow you to grow. And in music, they've allowed me to experiment and grow. Like nobody has been like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. In the beginning, when I first said I wanted to do it, I think a lot of people were skeptical.
They're confused.
Yeah, well, they were skeptical because they were just like, yo, music, okay.
Okay, let me ask you: is the reason by T is that the lanes are so defined? People just they can't blur in their head. It's hard for them to blur the lines.
Yeah, you have these lanes that are set up, right? So, if someone like if you today said, you know what, I'm gonna drop an album, music album, go in the studio, play the guitar, play the bass, I'm gonna drop something.
Okay.
if you told me that today, I go okay, right? And then other people might be like, well, don't you have this and don't you have that?
Right.
No, the problem is we are not used to people being multi-talented anymore to the level of like Prince could play every guitar. I mean, he could play every instrument. The dude was a genius. He wrote out, he recorded the album every 2 weeks.
The act.
He was. And the wild part is we have 100, if they drop an album once every year, it'll be 100 years worth of just albums. That's not singles.
That's how much material's in the can.
That's how much is in that crazy, the vault. And so, when you look at people like Childish Gambino, Donald Glover, he's a rapper, he's a writer, he's an actor. He has one of the greatest TV show, comedy TV shows out. He's won Emmy Awards. He's multidimensional. Yeah, Grammy Awards, exactly. Jamie Foxx, same thing.
He was too.
Richard Pryor was a singer before he became a comedian.
Right. Right.
So I think people get stuck in that idea of you need to stay in your lane, or even Idris Elba has music, but I was like, no, I can do too much. Like I'm an embodiment of the universe's ideas of art, and I shouldn't. I could draw, I could paint, I could write, I could do all kind of things. This within the past, like we'll just say 2 years to round it up, but it's less than that. I've been published for 5 different art forms. So it's like you can't look at that and see pressing and that and then say you need to stay in the lane.
Oh yeah, that's ridiculous.
I think the hard part, Eric, is that a lot of people are scared to switch the lanes.
Right. So
in the one lyric of the song I have with Frizzy, I even have a lyric where I talk about that. They say stay in my lane, but I own the whole interstate. I'm switching lanes. I'm gonna do what I want, and no one can stop me. And when they see they can't stop you, it scares them.
It does, Yeah, and it's interesting too. I learned early on in the guitar years just by watching. Yeah, the one thing that Paul Stanley did that to me was phenomenal was that every time somebody said that he can't do something, he would absolutely run out and do it. Like you can't act, he'd go act. You can't do stage, he would go do Phantom of the Opera. You can't paint. Okay, I'm going to be a painter and sells millions of dollars in painting. Yeah. Anytime he's a soul band.
I listen to his
soul station. Like you can't sing the music you love. Well, okay, I'm going to go get people to support me, and I'm going to do it.
Exactly.
It's like he refused to accept the limitations put on him by other people, and I think what a great lesson that is for all of us.
Absolutely,
it
is. Like when you bring Paul Stanley up, which, he's a beast, bro.
Right on.
Listen,
even now at 70, it's amazing.
Paul, if you are watching this, listen, you are a genius, bro. I watched the Soul Station, and as someone who grew up with soul music and R&B, he has one of the best singing voices in music in general, right? Not just in rock music, and that's up there with like Dio. You know what I mean? Like Dio, Paul Stanley.
Very distinct voices.
Yeah, Freddie Mercury, like those guys in rock could transcend other art or other genres. Yeah. So the thing, I'm sure Paul Stanley and people like Prince and people like Donald Glover and Jamie Foxx, I know like myself, you're constantly, the universe gives you what they want when they want. God gives you what he wants when. And when you sit there and you're absorbing that, there's so much to take in. So I'm constantly, there's lyrics flowing in my head all the time. Or, before that, it was jokes all the time. Right. But right now, it's album mode. So I got to get this album out within the next few months to hit my deadline I want. So now it's just lyrics. What can this beat? Yeah, let's do. Okay, yeah, boom. So, you know, whenever you have that focus and you can do anything like a Paul Stanley or a Donald Glover, you realize the only thing holding you back is fear. And the only thing that holds a lot of us back is fear. And I think that's why when I checked out Paul Stanley's Soul Machine over the pandemic, when he was doing the video, Soul Station, when he's doing, and he did the Smokey Robinson, I said, oh, shit. I said, oh, shit, man. I said, Paul Stanley is killing this shit, because that's a hard song to sing, especially Smokey. Ain't nobody you don't just sing Smokey if you can't sing it.
The funny thing is that the Kiss fans are extremely disappointed and very vicious because his voice is it's hard for him to get those Kiss notes anymore at that age he's at.
Yeah.
But that lower register now is very in tune with what he's singing now.
Yeah.
But then he goes and does his Smokey song, so it's like I think he still has it. He just can't put that stress on it like he used to. You just get older, man. You're 70. You know, it's like, what are you going to do?
Well, when you're screaming, I know, like for me, comedy-wise, which it worked out in my favor as far as like music, put a lot of strain on my voice over the years, doing impressions, yelling, screaming in these big venues. Even if it's a small venue, I'm still going to perform like it's a big venue. So having those problems and doing that, you start noticing, you're like, oh man, this is a lot of pressure on my voice. So like singers, you know, guys like Stanley and these people that are singing in arenas, they gotta scream. You know what I mean? You're screaming out your songs and you're singing and you're hitting these notes.
Sometimes it's like 5 nights a week for those guys too.
Oh, all the time. And then, you know, people like Nat King Cole, he smoked packs a day because he thought the cigarettes helped his voice, and it killed him.
A thing in rock too, man.
Yeah,
in the 70s, you know, that gravelly, you know.
Radio dudes would do it too. Smoke so they could get that voice like yours and shit.
That's a different era, man. Come on, man. I ain't got that. I never smoked a day in my life.
You ain't smoked, but you got
tobacco.
But anyway. you got a good ready. You know, you got a good voice for this. So
no.
So it's been cool, like jumping lanes. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I like doing
that. You gotta stretch out, right?
And it pisses people off.
That's why more should do it.
That's why I love it. The people it pisses off aren't the people that are consumers. It pisses off the people that are like, why the fuck can he do that? Why is he good at it? Because
they're more worried about why you're out doing it, as opposed they should be looking inward. Like, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah, what could I do?
Yeah, what else is available based on your skill set?
Listen, when Frizzy, when Frizzy.
By the way, Frizz, you know.
The clock. You got to come on, bruh.
He'll know when I go. I guess he'll know. We've scheduled, reschedule.
We finally got to sit down with each other just to hang out. His schedule's crazy.
I know he's busy.
But we didn't even get to record our song in the same room together. You know, it was like I recorded and then he recorded. Same studio, but when he had time.
Sure.
So I remember when they came out with No Justice and No Peace, and that was the very first song that was real that I was on. I did parody music. I did skits for other people. And then I go, yo, I got something to say. He was like, you know, like most people, because it's like, you're a comedian. What are you doing, bro? So I was like, yo, I got something to say. I want to. Okay. So I rap. He was like, oh, there's some nice bars on there. So then I was like, I'm going to keep doing this. So me and Roscoe Wiki at the Rap Cave, which, you know, I love that studio. Rap Cave and Fire K are the two studios I love to go to record. And
Boogie Street Studio.
Of course.
To record voice.
Yes.
Conversation.
But, you know, we were doing the music or whatever, and Roscoe was producing. And then I was like, yo, I got two artists that I could get on here. And the one was producing beats for me. And it's Mike Tomlin's son, Coach Tomlin's son, Mace.
Yeah.
Mace Tomlin. And Mace is a genius.
He's a producer now, right?
Yeah, he's a producer. He's a genius.
Yeah.
So he produced like Roscoe did Shucky Ducky, which has Frizzy on it. And Mace produced.
It's a cool tune.
This Is My Statement. The first part of the intro part was Roscoe. So they collabed on that. And then Silent Like Chaplin was Mace as well. So, you know, we've done a lot of collab. And JTB, my latest single, was Mace. Mace did that beat. So, you know, I had these ideas and then I kept going. And then I did Roomful, where I just did the hook, but they did the verses. It was him and Savvy, a kid from down south that I knew his dad back when I lived in Huntsville.
Okay.
And his dad looked out for me when I was young. And, you know, it's wild to see him growing up, becoming this like rap star. And so, you know, we did that song. Then I just waited and I was like, I need to put out like an actual song, like just myself. And I went through and I did a whole business blueprint on it. Like, things that I learned because from streaming so much on my comedy, I get these invites to like special meetings with like executives and stuff like that. Yeah. It's like you earned it for whatever. So I would sit in on those meetings and learn about the music industry and like tips and tricks and what like people do. One dude wrote for Taylor Swift, and he was like he's a big country producer or whatever. I forget his name, but he's one of the like executive people at TuneCore.
Okay.
And I sat in on these meetings and I was taking notes, and I would come in and I would wear a suit on Zoom during the pandemic because it's a trick I learned.
Just the top.
Yeah. Of course I had shorts on. Yeah, literally. And I learned, you know, when you come in with the professional look in the Zoom meetings, people, of course. So I would take notes, and then so I put together the strategy for the first track. Okay. And I did research. I knew who to send the music to, how to get it into the hands of press, how to get it on playlist. I learned all this stuff from doing that, and I said, this is what I'm gonna do.
Right on.
So the secret is and then I watched T-Pain. He also gives like tidbits and stuff, and T-Pain said, yo, if you put these songs that people are putting out where they be talking about it's a surprise albums have been planned for like a year, and he's like, you need to plan your single 3 months ahead of whatever. So don't put your single out unless it's 4 weeks. Give it 4 weeks time so you could promote and do whatever, even if you're doing a special secret or whatever. So it's already in the hatch.
Let it marinate.
So when you tell people I dropped this, they're like, what the fuck?
Right. Got it.
So I did the strategy. Went through the notes. Nobody knew what I was doing except people behind the scenes that knew. We recorded the song. I had it ready, had it mixed. Boom. Music video. Had it set up. Duke Davis. Congratulations, Duke Davis, on 5-time tag team champion, IWC. Him and Gannon Jr., they have the main event.
Right.
I got him on the music video. Joey Purse. Yep. My boy Gene. Josh, and who else was there? Ira was on it. So I got all these people to come on the music video, and I told them this is what we're going to do. And Janae was wonderful. She was like perfect for it. And John Zeller shot it. Yeah, right. And we had this location. It was the pandemic, so there was nothing going on. So it was like a movie set. Like literally had the whole fucking warehouse. Yeah. No cops are going to stop you because they're afraid of getting COVID. Like, you know, and we shot it. And I remember them showing up, and I write scripts differently. I write them in my head. I don't do like what most people do in tradition. So I wrote the plans out and said, we're going to improv this and make it like this. Just follow my lead. I'm going to tell you what to do. I'm going to direct you guys. Okay. And it turned out perfect. And I needed someone because I'm over 6'2", so I needed someone who's bigger than me, right, to stand out, because everybody else was like 5'10".
That's a problem.
Yeah. So it looked like I would just be dominating them. It wouldn't make sense for me to just be getting my ass whooped by a bunch of little guys. So
it looked legit.
It did look legit. So Duke Davis being the big baddie, she calls in, and it was so good to the point where at one point I was crawling and holding my ribs, and they thought they really accidentally fucked me up.
Got a couple extra kicks in there. Come on, Purse, it was you. Who did it? Who did it? Somebody did it.
And they were like, you know, they're like, oh, we thought you was really hurt. I was like, no, man, I was just acting. Come on, let's go to the next one. And, you know, we did such a good job with it. And the strategy was to piece it together, and it worked out perfect. Right, and then it was at the perfect time.
Yeah.
Nothing was going on. Even professional artists weren't even doing that.
No, there was shit going on, man. That's why when it popped, I was like, when did he do this?
Yeah. So I got press on it, and people were like, yo, the lyrics, whoa, yo, when did you start rapping like? And I was like, it's there. And Frizzy gave me the blessing where it was like, when Frizzy said that I'm a good rapper, And he's one. I have a list of what I call unicorns of rap. Mm-hmm. And the unicorns of rap are guys like Orange Ray 3000, mm-hmm. Eminem, guys that are just so lyrical beyond the normal lyricist. Mm-hmm. And he's one of them. Mm-hmm. And when he said I'm a good rapper and I got good lyrics, I was like, then I'm doing right on. I'm doing what God wants me to do.
Yeah, right on.
And then dropped another one. The video will be coming out. I was trying to do something else with the video, but instead we're going to go another route with it. And then I put out that freestyle where I went over Kendrick Lamar's beat because Kendrick had put out something.
Right.
And everyone was talking about his flow and his flow and his flow. And I was like, I think I could put out something dope on his beat with a good flow. And it worked out. And people were like, oh, snap. And I dropped that on my birthday.
Right on.
And then I said, okay, so over the months, same thing, strategically behind the scenes working, networking with people, mm-hmm. hitting up the right people, mm-hmm. Building relationships with blogs.
See, that's the back work that a lot of artists don't want to do.
They don't. Well,
they just don't want to do it.
Think about it. Why should you if you have managers and people?
But new artists, breakthrough artists, they don't realize
they don't realize
component.
Exactly. Yeah. And before this, I was managing people in different art forms. Like I was managing a model, I was managing a singer,
right?
And I was learning mm-hmm. business because I'm one of those people. Like I'm the guy that sits in a room with the executives and I have a conversation, mm-hmm. and I'm not scared to talk to executives. People are scared. I talk to them. I absorb the knowledge, mm-hmm. and people want to know, how do you get mentors? How do you get good mentors? The key to getting mentors is working with them.
Yep.
Learning. Don't be afraid to talk. Ask.
Yeah, absolutely.
One simple question. And make it better count.
It better count.
Because Kevin Hart once said
time's everything.
Yeah, Kevin Hart once said he ran into Jeff Bezos and he asked him a dumbass question instead of asking him the question that he really wanted to, but he was so flustered. And he said that taught him that you need to at least be prepared on what you want to ask or what you want to pitch or what you want to say.
Sure.
So I absorbed so much information that the back end stuff that I was already working on and doing.
Yeah.
I said, I could do this for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So why not? And then, so, you have these breakthrough artists who let people be like, oh, I'll do everything for you. I'll do everything for you. And they get so caught up in the ego part that they don't focus on everything else.
100%. That story you just laid out has been the story of bands trying to break in rock and roll for the last 40 years, but again, it changed a lot now. And obviously with the internet, it's way more on the artist now to do all this back end and promotion and everything else, because the record companies aren't doling out the money, on a wide basis.
They can't. I dropped a gem the other day that people were like, wow, I'm glad that you dropped this. And it wasn't a Milli Vanilli one. That was one of them. But the gym was about streaming.
Yeah.
And the dangers of it to artists. And the reality is I did a ton of research on streaming. See, when I first put out my comedy albums and I started streaming, I had I wasn't really looking for big numbers. I was looking for sales, right? Because I was like, this is a platform to sell it, right? So you could buy it on Amazon. You could buy a whole album. And keep in mind, I did this in 2016. So streaming was still fairly 100%.
New. 6 years ago.
Yeah. And because of that, I gained a big following on Pandora. Mm-hmm. And my following's bigger than people that are bigger than me, as far as like monthly listeners. Yeah. And so I built this up and I built this up and I built this up. And I had this going for a while and put out the album and I get like 50,000 streams in a year, right? Which I was like, is like 50 or 60. So at the time, streaming was new. So 60,000 worldwide streams for a comedian who's living in Pittsburgh when it's brand new was good. Then I put out the second album and I didn't know the numbers. And then one day I just logged in and was like,
oh, so you were watching it? You weren't watching them?
I wasn't watching the numbers. Okay. I watched them for the first album. And then when the second album came out, I gave it time.
Oh, right on.
And I was so busy doing shows. I had, my little one. So my youngest was not even one yet. So it was just like, with the kids and everything working and shows. And then one day I log in It's like, you got, what was it? It's like 250,000 streams. I was like, oh shit. And then it just kept growing and growing and growing. And I didn't realize Pandora was pushing me. And Spotify, I was getting on playlists and stuff. And then in Africa, they were like, yo, this is the shit. Then I put out the 2 albums. The pandemic fucked those albums up. They weren't as big as the other ones because I dropped them at a time where nobody was streaming anything. Everybody was just trying to figure out if they could wipe their ass. You know, we didn't even have toilet paper. So
was that ever determined whether we could or not?
Oh man, right? But you know, black people, we was prepared. We already had Chipotle napkins and Taco Bell napkins and shit. I was wiping my ass with mild sauce at that point. That junk drawer was ready. Am I allowed to laugh at that? You sure can. That junk drawer was ready.
I got permission over here.
But yeah, so with the streaming, the RIAA changed it.
Oh yeah,
and it fucked over independent artists because, of course, yeah, they have to. The labels were not making money anymore because people weren't buying CDs anymore. The last CD that was sold was in like 2018 in like Target. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and that was like Kendrick Lamar's album.
They're not putting them things in cars anymore.
Yeah, they're not, because everyone does Bluetooth and streaming. Right. And so you go through this and you have, okay, so now I can't sell CDs. So I would sell a CD $9.99 on iTunes, right? Let's say iTunes gets $2 of it. Mm-hmm. Cool. I'm walking away with some money, right? And that adds up. More people buy, more people buy, more people buy. Amazon, same thing. Okay. They get like a percentage of it. Maybe they get $2 out of the $9.99 I'm selling. But as an independent artist, I ain't got to split it with nobody. Right. It's coming straight to me. Right. Okay. Right. So now you cut that out. Now nobody's buying CDs. Nobody's buying any physical copies. They're streaming. So you pay $9.99 a month for unlimited music. That means if you want to listen to fucking Mozart, Vaporwave, or Tupac within the same setting, you could do so for $9.99 a month.
As much as I want.
As much as you want. You ain't got to worry about stacking CDs, collecting anything. It's right there. You can put it on your Alexa, your phone, your tablet, your computer. You can put it on your damn video game system, right? So it's convenient to the consumer, not to the artist. So now that the labels, so since the labels can't make the money, they got to find other ways to make the money. So the streaming, what the RIAA did was they fucked it up. It's 150 streams equal one unit for a single. 1,500 streams equal a 10-track album sale. And if it's premium streams, it counts more towards your numbers than free advertised streams. Meaning that if I don't move so many units, 500,000 is a gold album. 1 million is a platinum album. 500,000 with streaming and physical and digital download is obtainable to an independent artist. But see, they started seeing kids on SoundCloud getting millions, and they started seeing independent artists taking money from the big artists. They had to find a way, what can we do? So now Drake gets a deal for 20 million through Apple Music. Kanye gets a deal. This person gets a deal, and they're signing these deals for millions of dollars because the streams aren't going to add up. Right. So to get a gold single, it is 75 million streams.
That's insane.
That's not physical sales. That's not 99-cent purchases. That's not iTunes purchases. Ain't that insane? Now for an album, how much do you think it is for an album?
Wow.
With those numbers I just told you. So if it's 150 streams for a single, 1,500 for
times 10.
What? How much do you think it is?
That number times 7 or times 10, right?
So it's 750 million streams to get a gold album.
Wait, what'd you say?
Yes. To get a gold album, it is 750 million streams. For
750 million.
Yes.
That's almost 1 billion streams.
Yes. So first week sales used to be a big deal because that's what the artist really gets some money from, right? Yeah. First week sales is painful. It's painful as hell. So that means right now, my current single is going on 20,000 streams within a couple months, right?
Okay.
Those are great numbers for an independent artist. Those are really good numbers on Spotify. That doesn't count everything else. Yeah. That's just Spotify.
Yeah.
That's nowhere close. So now these other people like TuneCore and Spotify and other places are trying to help you. They're trying to tell you, hey, you've reached a milestone. So if you get 1,000 streams, that's a milestone, but that's a fucking pebble in the Atlantic Ocean compared to what other bigger artists can get.
Yeah.
So now you're the independent artist can't really make anything because
it's intentionally set up that way.
Oh, it is. And then keep in mind, it's 5 cents. You get 5 cents per stream on Spotify. 8 cents for premium. So even these bigger artists are getting that, and that adds up. And then so the artists that are signing 360 deals with that type of bullshit going on, they're not making anything.
No.
So it's about the artist.
Like an indentured servant. With
deals. At that point, you really are.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll give you this. We'll give you an advance. So now you're
working for the rest of your life for that advance.
Exactly.
24/7.
You see these artists, they're out doing festivals and constantly working and on tour because the labels. The labels got to get money. So I did all the research on the math and worked it for my favor. What can I do to make myself flourish? What can I do to get success and not just be like, oh, I need attention or clout.
Yeah.
I need the success part. And, I sat with Frizzy the other day and I bring him up because, we've known each other since we were very young. And
Frizzy Fridays.
Yeah, you remember? Frizzy Fridays. Fridays at Freestyle. It's so funny because it was like MTV Cribs. He takes me back and he's like, yo, look at the crib now. Because he now owns the house that he grew up in. And he fixed it up and he has this like big ass, like he has a movie theater and he has all this cool shit. Yeah. And he's taking, it's like MTV Cribs. He's like, yeah, you remember back when we used to be in here sneaking girls in on Fridays. So it's so funny. But, we were talking about the difference between clout and success.
Right.
There's a big difference between clout and success, right?
No doubt, man.
And you know that because it's like,
and the older you get, it becomes more clear the older I get.
Yeah. And you see it. Because
you can smell it almost.
Oh, bruh. It's like you can like we both were in the same predicament. Like somebody was like, "Oh man, they don't be putting you in the best comedian category in the city paper. Why nobody's voting for you in the best comedian category in the city paper?" And I'd be like, "Yo, that's perfectly fine because I've been on 3 covers." Do you want to be the person on the front of it, or do you want to be the person that you're begging people to vote for?
Yeah.
And I'd rather be the person that people respect and come to and say, "Hey, we want to interview," or "Hey, we want
something
you to do
deeper.
This.
Want to really find out about. I mean, an online popularity contest. I got no interest in that.
You got an article in Pittsburgh Magazine.
Well, thank you,
but guess what? Some people had to beg to ask them to vote for best.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't.
I know you're trying to be humble, but I'm going to be the person for you.
I just don't.
I'm going to be the hype man.
I just don't ever want to be in a position at any point in my life where I have to beg anyone to do anything. I have to. In real estate, you ask people to consider working with you for your reputation, but if you have to go beg someone to vote for you, it almost invalidates the whole circumstance. If it's supposed to be a valid competition based upon skill, merit, I guess a tinge of popularity, that's all good. But when it comes to popularity, a momentary popularity issue, because I know more people that will actually log in and vote for me, then there's no validity in that, man.
Let me ask you
this. I'm sorry. That's just me. Maybe I'm old. I don't know. That's how I feel about
you're
it.
right. You're just right. It's just logical. Some people need, and I think the pandemic really fucked people up because like everybody's like, look at me now, because they were locked away for so long.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to catch up on stuff and everybody's morals and ideas. So where we should be humbled and feeling beautiful that we're alive and embracing all this great shit that we could do again, instead people are just taking it for granted again. And it's like, yo, God was putting out plagues and hitting us with meteors and shit on and flooding the earth for a reason. Like
Kentucky, calling Kentucky.
Like when are y'all gonna fucking get it?
Yeah.
And so people don't get it, and we do, and that's the difference. Like let me ask you this, Eric McKenna. So Michael Jackson versus Prince has always been the argument for over. It'll be the argument for hundreds of years, right? It's like MJ and LeBron now. It's a little different, but
those two, for sure. Yep.
Prince and Michael Jackson.
Yeah, and right? Rick James has the third wheel out there, motherfucking them all.
he was a wild one.
I'm just saying.
He was a wild one.
I'm just saying. Terry Murphy.
Slap. So we look at Prince and Michael Jackson, right? Who was more popular?
I think if you look at worldwide popularity, Jackson wins that.
Okay. You answered it. Okay. Who?
There's no difference. There's a lot of difference between those guys.
Yeah. Now Michael Jackson owned a lot of people's masters, right? He owned the Beatles masters.
He got good business advice. He had the money at the time to leverage those decisions.
Leverage it. And he held it down, right? Yeah. Even to the point where
Eminem
dissed him once and he just went and bought his masters. So
he has the power.
He had the money to do it.
That, yeah.
Now, let's think about Michael Jackson at the end of his life and Prince at the end of his. Michael Jackson was in serious debt. He was in serious debt because of a bunch of financial things, legal things, everything was going on. And he held on to everything. He didn't sell the masters. He didn't sell anything. He never let them push him to that limit. He held on to it, but he was struggling towards the end. I mean, he was still rich, but as an artist, then he had to sign with Sony, and then he had that whole beef with Sony, and Sony's the devil, and he put him on blast about stuff because his album sells. Yeah, Mottola, and the album didn't sell to the level of what Bad and Thriller did, right? So even though the crazy thing about that album is it sold fucking millions of copies,
of course,
but it just wasn't the numbers
against himself.
Yeah, so let's take Prince, who had a deal with Warner Brothers, took them the albums. They said, you can't drop the albums like this. He said, well, you got your albums. I'm out. Well, we got your name. Cool story, bro.
I'll turn it into a symbol.
I'll turn it into something else. Goes and creates a whole... Yep. He was the start. Like, he helped the movement for right now of all the independent artists and stuff.
You can make the argument that he ushered in the new modern movement, the new modern independent movement.
He did. He had to, because he was selling his albums on like email, music. Like you had to be on his list to get like the albums and stuff. And even though they sold for a lot, people were buying them. So now that money goes straight to his pocket versus having to fight with.
Okay, let me ask you another question. So if Michael Jackson would have been inclined to do that at that point in time in his career, would it have worked?
Yes.
You think?
Absolutely.
You think? I don't mean earlier in the 80s. I'm talking mid 90s.
Well, Prince did that in what, like 93?
Yeah, early to mid 90s.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson did that maybe a couple years after the Bad record. Bad was 90. So let's say Michael Jackson made a decision to do that in 94.
Yeah.
Do you think he could have done what Prince did?
Yeah.
At that time?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think he could have, because Michael was so big, even though the legal shit was going on.
Yeah.
And the accusations, he was so big. He did music for Sonic 3 on Sega, but he didn't want to put his name on it. And if you go back and listen to it, you can hear the Michael Jackson, because he had a deal with Sega. He had an arcade game and he had a video game for Sega Genesis. Okay. And I have the video game, Moonwalker.
Okay.
And then he had a movie to go tie in with it. And Michael was so big at that time that I think Michael would have been able to do it. But it's just he was brought up a different way in the industry.
And there were some weird family connections too. Like his dad had some kind of weird control over him for a period of time.
Yeah. So you go from that and then you look at Prince. And my point is, I bring those two up for that.
Yeah.
Is what is success versus popularity? And Michael Jackson was very successful. Don't get this twisted what I'm saying. What I'm saying is Prince was just as and very successful himself. It's just after a while, he didn't need the popularity to the point where he was still a god amongst musicians.
Yeah, that's the whole other aspect there as musicians, because Michael Jackson was not a musician. He was exemplary in what he did, but in terms of the whole package, Prince had that other thing, that musician thing on top of the composer, the writer, the performer, the singer. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's more of a complete package.
Well, it was. No, but I don't think anyone could argue that, because, I mean, I think Prince is the greatest artist that ever lived.
He is. I will tell you this. I've seen a lot of guitar players in my day, some live and some obviously through video and recordings.
Yeah.
I can't pick the best guitarists because there's so many in this like top 10ish thing.
Yeah,
he is definitely up there. Like because they're all interchangeable at some point. They're
at
so
some point,
good.
Yeah,
but there's just a natural God-given ability to the guitar that defies logic to me. It's so he looks at times so disinterested in what the complexity of what he's playing.
Yeah,
but it's like effortless. I've never seen another player do that. When you watch a guitar player, you see him. You just because I play, you naturally become like this weird melding with the instrument where your emotions come through it.
Because the vibrations from the strings.
He could do that. Yeah. He also could immediately shut it down and like go somewhere else mentally.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody do that.
Yeah.
And be good at it.
And be good at it.
Yeah.
They released his album recently. It has like all the demos for all the hit songs that he wrote for people. So like Jungle Love, they had the Prince version.
Yeah.
And they had the Manic Mondays, the Prince version and all this stuff. And you get a chance to listen to it, and you're like, "Yo, he was the time." Like they didn't need he was recording.
He
was recording all the.
We could go
shit.
down that angle. So he was the time.
He was.
But then Jimmy Jam and Terry.
Oh, they were beasts.
Yeah, they took Janet Jackson to another stratosphere.
They did,
right?
Yeah, because he kicked them out for making music for the SOS.
So, right, but all that shit. Everything they touched was great. Everything Prince touched was great.
Yeah.
So there were an amazing amount of talent, but the time is like my thing. Morris Day, as goofy as that sumbitch is, Morris is my man.
Oh,
you know what I mean? He's such an integral part of my childhood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, we love Morris Day in the time.
Oh yeah.
But it's
the
just
early stuff, especially that no one really knows. Before Ice Cream Castles and before 77789 but way before. I'm talking like the song Cool.
Oh yeah,
all the stuff down
C-O-O-L.
high school. I mean, I have all of that stuff.
What does that spell? Oh, cool.
That was me in high school, man, thinking I was all that in a bag of chips, man.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So I'm a historian and a student of whatever I study.
Yeah, right.
So comedy, music, whatever.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure that I wasn't disrespecting hip hop.
Okay.
And when I got the responses that I've gotten, I knew, okay, people respect me. Because people I look up to, like in hip hop, were like, yo, this is fire.
Oh, right on.
This is fire. I remember I sent it.
Oh, dude, I read all the reviews and everybody's like on it.
Oh, appreciate it. Yeah. I sent one to Jadakiss, and Jadakiss is one of the best rappers ever.
Yeah.
And the response back was that it was fire. That I was a good lyricist. So, it was random. It was like a part of some contest he was running, and I was like, oh, what the hell? I'll just do it.
Sure, why not?
And so I've been really pushing that because I want to drop the album my birthday.
Oh, right on.
So yeah, my birthday is October the 14th.
Right on.
I plan on dropping the album then. But yeah, man, it's been a journey, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm still doing comedy and comedic things, but right now I want to get this album done, and it takes time. Like you have to go in the studio and record.
Dude, it's a lot of work.
The mixing and the mastering and I always try to make sure I blend in the artistry of like artists that I loved, and if you like listen to it, there's like cadences of things that would probably be like jazzy as far as like the flow, like jazz and Mozart-esque. Like there's like threes and stuff like that, and if people break it down, like you'll notice like, oh snap, there's these double entendres and triple and quadruple entendres of like what something means, and that's the cool thing about rap is rap has always been cool because you're trying to spit about something and you're trying to make people go, oh shit. Like even if someone never listened to rap before, you want them to be like, he's got to be good. You know what I mean? Like if you don't like Drake, then if I play a Drake song for you, I want you to be like, I don't want you to be like, that sucks. If I play J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar, because someone like Kendrick Lamar just breaks barriers to the point where people are like, this fucking guy is insane. But you kind of want to do that. And that's the level of what I wanted to do.
Yeah, I've always thought that's next level stuff. Like it takes some guy like me who spent most of his life in pop music and rock music and just a very limited knowledge of a good knowledge of R&B, but limited knowledge of rap. I always thought that if a rap song breaks through to someone like me, then that's upper tier shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's something really going on there.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? Yeah. I agree with you, bro. It's and it's the same thing just for me. Like, I just love art. So like, I love music, right? So there's music that I listen to that, you know, we've talked and you're like, yo, you know, you're a young cat. You listen to that or you like
you
that?
surprised me quite a bit. Yeah.
Like I tell people I like Danzig and they're like, yo, what?
That's even too heavy for me.
You know,
that goes back to the Misfits.
Yeah. Misfits, Danzig, you know, there's stuff that I listen to that's like heavy. And then there's stuff that's like different. Oh, Mother, that's my shit, man.
You used to lift to that song, right?
Oh, I still do. Every time, you know, and it's sometimes I'll, like in the middle of comedy shows, I'll fuck with people and I'll be like, okay, yeah, everybody having a good time? Like, all right. You know, I would like to end this song, this show with a song by a man named Glenn Danzig called Mother. And I'll just randomly just start singing Mother.
Are you serious?
Swear to God. And then people just start dying. And I'll be like, yo, I'm just fucking with you. And I remember once there was a big fight at a comedy open mic like years ago at the Smiling Moose. And this is when the Smiling Moose was just downstairs.
Yeah,
there was no upstairs.
right on.
So, you know, it was like a horror metal. There was like bikers in there that, you know,
I've seen some dicey shit there.
Yeah, bro, it was shady. And I remember this girl. There was this huge fight, and there was a band that went up after this big fight. They were up next after our show,
right? And
to get everyone back in order and like just to chill, I went up and I sung Mother, and the band was like, yeah, like going nuts. But
you saved the day.
Yeah, music is it's a beautiful thing, and music is in comedy, and that's probably why I'm able to do it. And it's weird because I remember a medium that there were these two mediums that used to come on our radio show back in the day when I was with Kren. Yeah. And they were the Angel Ladies. And this one, she always got excited. She said, your energy, your aura, she would just always get excited when she saw me. Like as soon as she saw me. Okay. And one day she goes, do you do music? And I said, no. I said like comedically. She said, you have it. You come from a musical background. Mm-hmm. Like you have musicians in your family. You need to go do music. And I was like, okay. And then she's like, yeah, like seriously. She's like, I believe that you're going to excel in it. But I'm going to let you know now, a lot of the people that you're around are trying to hold you back on purpose because they don't want your light to shine. It's too bright. Mm-hmm. And because your light is too bright, all these people that you think are for you and are looking out for you, and this is going to be over the next few years, you're going to realize that they're holding you back. Yeah. And then when you start shining, you need to be in the forefront. Stop being in the back of everyone, be in the forefront. That's what she said. And fast forward years later, I had started music.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. So like, I think what she's talking about is the circle, right? Your circle kind of like changes, shifts, and sometimes contracts as you get older, right?
Yeah, it does. So pretty much what she was telling me is that I've always been the guy who's been a part of someone's brand, but I've always been good enough to be my own brand.
Sure.
And
that takes you have to recognize that realization.
And because I was young and I was thinking that working with specific people and having my brand with somebody or a part of somebody's big brand, that it was going to help me. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't doing it in a selfish way, just like, oh, okay, we're all working as a team. We're X-Men. We're the X-Men. And that's not the case. Yeah. You know, you become a part of that. And then when you're not doing what people want, or you start doing too much, or you start getting too good, then people don't want to fuck with you anymore. So for me, that's what she was saying was true. And over the last few years, I've just been fuck fear. I done been to hell. You know what I mean? I done been to hell many a time.
Right on.
And every time I climb out of there, the demons be like, yo, what the fuck?
Right.
And you go, you die, and you come out of the ashes like a phoenix. And not everyone gets a chance to be a phoenix, but some of us are chosen on this planet to be a phoenix.
Yep.
And the phoenix has always been a pivotal part of my life. And so I would always like I'm a very cool dude. I don't think there's anybody outside of ex-girlfriends that could say anything bad about me.
Right on.
And even them, they even know that my heart I have a good heart, and that I love and I care, and you've been around people who know me. Yeah. Nobody ever says anything bad about me.
Nope, not heard anybody say anything yet.
So the reason being is I just move in the sense of always just I think differently. I think on the good side, and sometimes
that scares people.
Yeah, and my biggest problem was I kept forgetting that there are people who don't think like us. Because me and you think pretty similar. That's why we get along.
I think so.
You know what I mean? What's your sign?
I'm an Aquarius.
I'm a Libra. See? Aquarius and Libra. That's what we fuck with each other. So
not literally.
Unless you're a lady. But for me at least. But no, the thing is, what I'm saying is we have this sense of we don't carry ourselves like we're superstars. And I had to have people tell me, you need to chill and stop giving people access to you that don't deserve access to you.
Yeah.
And people who are whatever. So I just slowly, you just start seeing people's true colors. And as you start seeing people's true colors, you start realizing as you're growing and as you're becoming bigger and as you're becoming stronger and as your brand's getting bigger, people start getting intimidated because they don't want to fall back. But the reality is you're not falling back. There's no, I don't look at someone as an equal. I don't even look at someone as technically competition.
Right. No,
I look at myself as my own competition.
Right.
And if I'm not doing better than I can do, then it don't matter if I'm not doing better than you.
Yeah, it's an insecurity thing. It's I have no interest in competition in any capacity. I left that back in the 90s, corporate America primarily. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm playing softball with somebody or playing a sport or something.
Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah.
But in terms of competing in life in any capacity, I just don't know. I got no interest in it.
What's the point?
My answer is, what's the prize? Show me what I'm going to win.
Yeah. Outside of just fucking people over. And I've been fucked over too many times.
That's no prize.
Yeah, there's no prize.
That's more drama.
It is. And I'm like, yo, are these people even getting anything out of it? You know, and you know, sometimes you have to realize that you're not, you know, because I was talking, even us talking before the show.
Yeah.
You're a very humble guy. And
it took me a while to get there, though.
Well,
you know,
regardless,
age will do that to
you. But you're there now.
I think so.
You get what I'm saying?
I try to be, yeah.
You're there now. Yeah. Overall, you're there now.
Yeah.
And the reason I say this is because the difference is, like, I could talk to you about something, you're like, well, I'm not trying to be like, or I'm not trying to be that guy, or I'm not. And the reality is, we have to be. There's a way for us to do it without being arrogant. And I always say, if we can't be sharks, and we got to keep sharks around us, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So you look at The Rock. The Rock is one of the nicest guys in the world. The Rock is very successful.
He's going to go get his.
You know who his manager is? His ex-wife.
Oh, I know
his
that.
ex-wife is the head of $7
Did
production.
Not know that.
Yep. And he said, I want to keep working with you. She managed him all the way into where he's at now. He's going to be a billionaire. Okay.
No doubt.
Her little brother works for the company as the president. They are killing shit in Hollywood. This dude has earned billions of dollars.
Is he the biggest
I think
Instagram star right now? Or Instagram personality?
I think he is. I think he's like he's also one of the biggest box office draws in it right now too in the last few years. So when you think, and he has a new DC Comics movie coming out, which is going to take that to another level. So my point is that you look at someone like that and he has sharks around him, right? I remember working with Sinbad and he was such a nice guy that his management had to say no to him for stuff. They had to say, no, you're not going to do that, because he'll do everything that, you know.
I heard Elton John's like that too.
I believe it. And when you have guys like that, or, you know, I've heard Michael Jackson was like that, which is why so many people had too much access to him to cause trouble. So, you know, with that being said, that's what happened with my circle and pushing. It's like, okay, go get it. Go do it. Go do it yourself. Go get it.
Yeah, this is going to sound a little crass, but years ago I realized that, you know, I had to start maneuvering in a different way to give myself a little happiness and also to protect myself a little bit.
Yeah.
And at some point in time, you realize that, you know what, are those people warranting that access to you?
Yeah.
And oftentimes I think there's, you know, if someone doesn't warrant access to you, then don't fucking give it to them.
Yeah.
Hate to be that way.
No, you have to be.
But you have to be for self-protection, especially now. I mean, time is valuable, man.
Oh, bruh. If the one thing the pandemic taught me, which is why I took so many leaps into where I'm at now, is that you only, there's two parts of it. Life is very short to a degree. You can die at any moment. And over the last year, going on, it hasn't even been a full year, I've lost 9 to 10 people in my family and life. My grandma, my great uncle died weeks after my grandma. My Uncle Johnny before that. My Uncle Mike. There was another uncle or cousin. Like it, there's so many right now that, you know, I can't even, and losing all these people and watching these people go, like my best friend's brother died, and, you know, you're just looking around and you're like,
a lot of these COVID deaths?
No, some was, my grandma had dementia. She got older. My Uncle Otis had got COVID. He cleared up from it and then he died. So it was like complications of COVID. Yeah. But he was able to live a little bit longer. I really think he died because he was heartbroken because my grandma died.
That's a thing.
They were the like last of their siblings because my Uncle Melvin died a couple years before that. So losing these family members and stuff, you know, and friends, I just was like, yo, why am I? People are taking me for granted. There are people out here that are literally taking me for granted and they're looking at me like, oh, I'll holler at you when I holler at you. Yeah. I'm going to talk to you when I talk to you. I'll work with you when I work with you. I'll help you when I help you. And at any given time I could die. But as soon as I die, those are probably going to be the same people that put out these big posts and cry the most and do the most and talk about how close we were and stuff like that. You don't take people for granted because at any given time they could go. On the flip side of that, I also learned that, as Jerry Seinfeld said, life is too long.
I never heard that one.
Life is too long. And he broke it down. He said there are people on a cruise right now doing crossword puzzles to kill the time.
I guess. What a way to live, though.
Well, the thing about life being too long,
I would do a word search.
If you think about it, we have these times a day where we try so hard to fill in space. And that's why they tell us the dangers of being too busy and the dangers of being busy. Because everybody's so busy, they're too busy that they take life, people, and those around them and situations for granted. Okay. And then when those people, things, or whatever are gone, then you miss them, right? But you didn't cherish them when you had them. Now life is so long that you got to suffer the feeling of not having them.
Got it.
Now you're still living.
Like that's the penalty.
It's the penalty of it.
Right.
It's the suffering.
It's such a balance, though, right? It's so
like
hard.
I said, it's too short, but it's too long. Yeah. And what I learned about my time is how important my time is. So for me, I'm not going to give people my time that don't deserve it, right? That don't earn it.
That's the thing. That I think that's the biggest change I felt.
Yeah. Do you deserve Eric McKenna's time? Did you earn the time? Yeah. Because Because if somebody blows you off, coming up here to your studio that you have the lights on for, these cameras for, this mic for, that you are paying for this space, and you're sitting on this couch waiting for somebody, and they say, I can't make it the day of, or a couple hours before.
Hour of.
Then,
or 20 minutes after they should have been here.
Exactly. With that being said, do they deserve your time? Did they earn your time? Do they deserve another chance? No. Yeah. So that's where I've changed so much, because my babies deserve my time. My daughters get my time. It's all about them. What do y'all think daddy should go do that? Yeah. Oh yeah, daddy, go do that. Go do it. Yeah, daddy. Okay, cool. Well, daddy, you gotta, daddy, are you okay? Or they check on me, they make sure. And even with them, I've learned the specifics and importance of love and time.
Certainly.
Right. So you have kids, and you know thing. It is. So my rules are like, if you can't love me, if I'm sitting here calling you family, I'm like, yo, you're family, you're a brother, you're a sister, you're family, you're like family. If I'm saying that to you, I mean that shit. Don't bullshit me and treat me like another motherfucker on the street.
You're a punk.
Or do you just treat your family like this?
Yeah, it's
because some people take family for granted.
Yeah, for sure.
So because family's always going to be there, and then boom, they're not there.
Or they use those terms too loosely.
Exactly. So sometimes we get caught up in that, and we're like, yo, we're family. If you don't love me like my kids love me, or you don't love me like my mom and dad love me, or like my cousins love me and my aunties and uncles, then I can't fuck with you.
Yeah.
It's that simple. I'm not going to disrespect somebody like that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I've noticed, Terry, is that, they say when you're growing up, when you're young, like the hours take forever. When you get older, like, days go by like nothing. Yeah. There's a lot of validity to that.
Yeah.
That's how it's felt to me. And now it's like every hour that I'm not sleeping, I'm going to be selfish with a lot of those hours, my exercising, all that I do by myself. That's my time.
Yeah.
But the other time that I'm available, I mean, especially if it's recreational time, I want to spend it with people that I intently want to be there.
Yeah.
If I don't want to, that's like, I'm not a big mingler. I won't go to a lot of networking events. You won't see me hanging out in bars. It isn't that there aren't people there that I don't like.
Yeah.
It's not where I feel like I want to be.
Exactly.
Especially now that alcohol is not part of my equation.
Exactly.
I'm looking around like, what am I doing here?
Yeah. I'm 13 years.
No
alcohol.
Yeah. So I'm just learning it. So it's like, it changes the dynamic. The lexicon changes a little bit.
But here's the thing. Everybody wants you to be social. Everybody wants you to be out there. You got to be at the clubs, the bars, the this, the that, the networking events. What am I really getting out of you outside of a picture opportunity?
Thank you.
Look, you be having David on here, right? David be on this show.
Yeah.
I love David to death. Me and Dave talk. We've hung out, smoked cigars. I don't come to Dave for shit. We just talk. Right? And whenever I'm at networking events or something like that, I'm not like, yo, what I mean? We took a picture together the one time we were all hanging out because it was just a cool moment. Like, yo, let's get a picture for the night.
And you should do that.
But I'm not trying to use people as picture opportunities. And that's what a lot of these networking and different events are. It's like, let me look busy. But is that busy turning into revenue? And if it ain't turning into revenue, what was the whole fucking point of the networking event?
Yeah.
Right.
That's my thing too. And it's like, is the photo opportunity celebratory because you really feel like you want to celebrate, or does it feel like it's something else going on there? Like I went to a couple of networking events recently, and I intentionally am a human being that doesn't join clubs. I'm not a big club guy, but I went there and I looked around. And it was awesome that people wanted me to be there. I kind of genuinely felt some people wanted me to be there. Yeah. But then at the end, they did all these obligatory photo opportunities. And I just politely said I didn't want to do it. And I saw like some dirty looks. And I realized, you know what? They just wanted me here as another potential member. Look, we might have this guy in there, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
It was so shallow to me. And there's some wonderful people there.
Yeah, yeah.
But the motives behind the gathering is just nothing that appeals to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just me. Maybe I'm weird. It just does not appeal to me.
No, I've done so much networking, met so many people, and done a lot. And I know that's important, especially for public figures, because if you want people to check you out, they need to see you and they need to know
you need to be visible, but it should be on your terms, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I've learned to do that. My kids get that time. My family gets that time, or whoever I want to give that time to.
Yes.
If I want to go on dates and stuff,
100%.
But I'm not going to give that time to people that don't deserve it. And the problem is, me and Frizzy were talking about this, and he, we just sat down and reflected our careers at this point, right? Like,
Frizzy.
A bunch of cool shit, and we don't really get that time together because we're usually like,
it's tough.
It's at the studio.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's at the studio, or he came and performed Shucky Ducky with me at Arcade, and I was performing music there, and he came as a surprise guest. And we just do like all this stuff, but it's always at events, or I went and saw him with CeeLo Green, and
right on.
It's like, oh, yo, we're hanging out, and so we'll take our pictures sometimes and hang out just for the moments. And then so we finally got a chance to sit down. We were supposed to be doing all kind of other stuff, gaming, and he has his own arcade. We're supposed to be playing on arcade and doing all that stuff. And we just literally sat down like how we are right now. Yeah. And we had a conversation, and we talked about,
isn't it?
It is. And we talked about the people before us that were like big stars. And we're like, the people that were big stars in the city of Pittsburgh, the reason they never took it any further is because this was their world. And this is all they cared about. So they just cared about being cool and important and famous within their city. But you go other cities and
but that is definitely
a Pittsburgh thing. It is definitely a Pittsburgh thing. But so many people are so busy like trying to be cool and important and famous and popular and this.
Pittsburgh famous.
Yeah. And then so, we were talking, and he's like, I'm in a meeting with these people, and there's a difference. We were talking about the difference between, because his albums are going to be success versus popularity. And we were talking about the difference between popularity and success, clout chasing versus dream chasing, right? And the difference is you have these people that are clout chasing that want attention, and they want to look cool. So they're getting 400 likes on a post versus somebody who's actually successful getting 35 likes. And it's like, okay, those 35 likes are more important than these 450 likes that you have.
Right.
And why is that? And it's because you're making it look like you're something to the people.
Yeah,
versus actually having something. So
it's an illusionary currency. That's all those likes
exactly.
are.
So the problem with a lot of people is that, we're discussing this and we're talking about those photo opportunities. And he's like, yeah, so many people do that. They do that all the time. And I say, you know what it is? They are chasing moments, but we live those moments. So you don't have to take a picture with Paul Stanley every 5 seconds because Paul Stanley. You've worked with Paul Stanley. You have the proof. Yeah. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was actually I won't say I was like best friends with the guy or nothing, but it was that we were friendly. I consider him a friend, and I think for the time we worked together, he considered the same. But that's what it was. It was that relationship. The external validation was marketing to sell product, but it wasn't a moment that had to be exploited. Does that make any sense?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Because that's what people are chasing. They're chasing moments they can exploit for themselves. So what looks cool? It looks cool that I'm performing in front of hundreds of thousands of people. I'll post crowds and stuff like that, but it's usually when I'm headlining.
Yeah.
I see people post crowds of like 400. Yeah, the office tonight. Oh, I'm at the office tonight. Yeah, look at me. I'm look up, sold out show, right? Cool. They're not there to see you.
Yeah.
Now, when you sell out like that and they're there to see you, that's even cooler.
Yeah, of course.
But
of course,
sold out show. So I see people post sold out shows and they bomb at those shows. So you're not telling people you bombed at the show.
It's an illusion, right?
You're posting the illusion, the idea that there was 500 people there at your show, but you're not posting that you bombed.
And then most of social media is built on illusions.
Exactly.
I mean,
so I think people are chasing moments instead of living them. Yeah. And because they're not living them, they're missing out on so much.
Photos should be a celebration of a truly enjoyed moment. You know? Not granted, like, let's say, once in a lifetime thing you see, like, I don't know. We went to a baseball game and the pit coach was in the box next door. My son wanted to get a photo with him. And that meant a lot to my son. Yeah. So there's moments where you want those things. Yeah. But for me, at this age, it's like I want to celebrate and remember this moment that I was really enjoying with people.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That's, and if I want to share the photo, hell yeah, we were a bunch of cool mother effers having a good time. Here, check us out. Yeah. But it isn't like, hey, I'm hanging with this person. Meanwhile, that person doesn't even know you.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
You know what I mean? Don't create the illusion that you're best buddy.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Come on.
And they do it all the time, and they catch, and that's what they do. And it's easy to sell, and it's like
social media, man.
It is. I mean,
it's an illusion. The whole goddamn thing's an illusion.
It is. That's why I tell people I've been working on doing what I could do for my branding and myself.
It's like you need it. It's a useful tool you need it, but at the same time, the manipulation of it is just ridiculous.
Oh, bruh, I see it too much. I see it way too much, and that's my big thing with it. It's like I love living the moment. Mm-hmm. I've been blessed, and I was talking to...
You get to do what you love for a living, brother.
Yeah.
The battle's already won.
Yeah.
Whether you make another $3 or you make another $3 million.
Yeah, exactly.
The battle's won.
Yeah. And, I've been blessed to even to the point where, like, I push people, like, we're going to pay you this. And I'm like, this is my contract now. This is my contract.
Right.
If you don't... I have people that build these contracts,
Things
lawyers.
So
it's like, if you don't want to pay this, then I don't want to do it. But if you're someone I'm cool with, I'll give you a discount, but it's still going to be,
of course,
half of the minimum.
Of course.
So it's like, I enjoy things. The one thing that I've learned too, and I try to put this in my head, Eric, is that, like, and we were talking, I was like, yo, you got to do this too, is we have to realize that you don't want to think that you're better than people. It's one thing to think that you're better than people, but we have to realize that we are more than people lead us on to be. And what I mean by that is, I noticed so much how people don't want us to know that we're actually better than we think we are. And it's in the sense of,
they're not telling you the truth.
They don't want to, because it
somehow they think it de-emphasizes them.
It does. Yeah. You know what I mean? In their mind, because they're fucking out of it.
Which is just crazy.
And so, for example, I had to think about it. I was like, yo, out of all these things that I've accomplished so far, like, if I die today, do I have a great legacy? And I thought about it, and I was like, yo, you have an amazing story.
Right.
If you die today, I have an amazing story.
I relate to that.
And we have these great stories. And within these stories, sometimes we got to go back and look at those milestones. Because, see,
you have to remind yourself.
Yes. The mistake is, some people live in the past and they ride that past coattails. But when you are in the present still killing shit, and you have that as part of the journey, and you could be like, oh, well, I worked with so-and-so. I once saw Kendrick Lamar open for Wiz Khalifa, right? I saw, listen to what I just said. I saw Kendrick Lamar open for Wiz Khalifa.
I get it.
And people didn't know who he was.
Right on.
I did, because I like this music.
Right on.
Kendrick Lamar is a Pulitzer Prize winning rapper. No rapper has ever, or probably will, win that prize.
Yep.
Because he's that good of a writer. He's that creative. He's one of the biggest stars in music.
Period.
Transcends music, not just rap, transcends music. He is an embodiment of art. And that guy, it opened
For Wiz.
For Wiz Khalifa. And imagine if he would have stopped and didn't go the right route and didn't get linked up with Dr. Dre and go the route that he needed to become the phenom he is. Mm-hmm. And his story would have been what? Eric McKenna.
Yeah.
I opened for Wiz Khalifa. And and Wiz is a star, but what I'm saying is,
oh yeah, I understand what you're saying.
That's the difference. We are not the people who are just opening for people. We are the people who are the people.
I think the thing for me is that I am very comfortable in my own skin. Mm-hmm. I didn't deserve all the cool shit that happened to me and still kind of happened to me now. I never felt I deserved it, but I'll take it, and I did the best I could with it.
Why do you think you didn't deserve it?
I think I have fucked up so much in my life, T, that I just think I keep landing in mud puddles and coming out smelling like a rose, and so I don't like to take a lot of credit for a lot of the stuff that happens. I've just tried to use the opportunities presented to me, but at the same time, I also, as I get older, understand that I have this like tapestry of my life, which is unique and it's different, and people are generally interested in it, and I have no problem sharing it with people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think we've all been in the mud, bro.
Yeah.
We've all come out of the mud. I done did some shit that I ain't proud of many a times. You know what I mean?
Put it this way, if my skeletons were released from the closet, they could form a single file line down Fifth Avenue in my hometown and do a dance for about a couple hours.
I think, but
there'd be a lot of them.
But that's all of us. But see, but the thing is, people hide it, and they don't want you to know they have it. So
they pretend.
Like when Lisa Cunningham of the City Paper came to me, and she said, "Hey, I love your post about how your kids saved your life.
Right.
I would love for you to write an essay."
It was a great essay, by the way.
Thank you, bro. And that was my first published thing that I've written. That was published outside of, like things I've written comedically.
Yeah.
And in that, I wanted to share things that happened to me without making it trauma porn.
Yeah.
Because the first one I wrote, I was like, man, I've been through a lot. I'm putting a lot on here.
Right.
So my thing is
discretion.
That we've all had those moments, but it doesn't mean you don't deserve it. And
deserve is a funny word.
Here's what the one thing that Eric Church says is one of my favorites, is that he says, you deserve to live the best of your life for the rest of your life. And I think sometimes we're haunted by things that have happened in the past, and we're haunted by them, and we don't know how to really embrace the idea of things that make us the success that we are today, right? So everybody has those. Oh no.
Well, I can share this with you. One of my biggest mistakes was during the guitar years that I did not take time to stop, breathe, and take it all in. Like, it was just boom, 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 boom. And every time I got something, that's great, we have work to go do. I worked so hard through that process that the only time I started to look at what we actually did was through the photographs and all that when it was done, when it was over. And that's kind of the tapestry of that, is kind of like in this room.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until it was done. And now that I look back on it, there were times I could have slowed down a little bit, kind of soaked it in a little bit, Yeah. I don't mean in a boastful way, but I mean an internal way. I could have really taken the moment to live in that moment a little bit. It just kind of, I raced through it, so.
That's the ego, bro.
I guess.
It's the ego of it, because think about it. You were young. And
younger.
Well, you were younger. And for me, same thing. I was young with so many opportunities.
Yeah.
And
you got your first taste of success, you were young.
I was too young.
Yeah.
And the problem with a lot of these things are when you get these successes young, the ego's telling you work, keep working hard. And I noticed, someone explained it to me. They said, people that didn't come from money, they overwork because they're afraid of not having money.
Oh yeah, that's a thing.
And then you just drive yourself crazy. Like Kevin Hart, they talk about how he's the hardest working dude. He said his mom raised him. It was just him and his mom.
Yep.
And his dad was on drugs and stuff in a studio apartment in Philly. And he works his ass off probably because he don't ever want to go back to that, have his family go to that or whatever.
Yeah.
But sometimes as men, especially men, we drive ourselves insane because we are working too hard for 90 million reasons. It's not the same as like some people, you know what I mean? Like I'm working hard for my kids, but I also got to put my own money up for the studio. Ain't nobody, I ain't got no loan, no front, you know?
Right.
If anything, I'll go to my parents and be like, yo, y'all the executive producers of this project and I'm going to give you the money back. But for now,
I did that once,
you know? Yeah. So, you know, it's like, versus the labels, you know, there's so much that we do as men.
Yeah.
And as men, we don't get the opportunity to take anything in and breathe because we just work so much. Like my goal is, and it sounds crazy, one of my biggest goals is to get rich enough and big enough so my parents can just fucking chill.
Yeah. And
just go where the fuck they want.
Right on.
Do what they want when they want. My dad has been working since he was a little boy. My dad is in his 60s.
Right on.
He sold groceries to Roberto Clemente back in the day. Like he used to deliver groceries, and he worked at Miss Mary's Hot Sausage that turned into a KFC in Garfield, and it's now like an insurance place because Garfield has changed so much.
Right on.
But my point is that my dad has worked that long, and he's worked so hard.
Yeah.
And he's worked so hard to take care of everyone.
Right.
And make sure everybody's good.
Right.
And
that's because he's a good man.
Yes. But it also shows me now as myself, my dad worked so hard at times that he didn't get a chance to spend as much time with me as I wanted him to. But as you become older, you understand why. But even though I understand the why.
Yeah.
With my little girls, I know how important it is to give them time because they're only young once, but they'll be old forever. So now it's like, take this time. Yeah. Yes, we're going to the park.
You're doing it right. You're doing it right.
I started, you start understanding the importance of time. But men, we don't get that breather. Because, I looked at stuff this year and I look back at everything I've accomplished so far. Similar to, like you said, you didn't get a chance to take it in. There's shit that I was like, yo, I wish I just took it all in. But they tell you while you're young to just keep working because they're making money off of you. And when people are making money off of you, you're a whore, right?
I got a lot of feeling of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Eric. Yeah. Yeah, Eric, get in there and make more guitars. Even though it's your shit, but you're making it and it's benefiting the user.
It's benefiting the user, and it was also benefiting the manufacturer.
Exactly.
So Paul was benefiting from guitars sold, but I also was benefiting him by pushing volume out the door.
Exactly.
So it's it's a two-way street. What I definitely did not take time to understand how special the journey was for me. What I did do, which is a saving grace, is being a divorced dad through all those years and having my kids a lot. I got all that time with my kids, and that's why I think the relationships I have with my two kids today are so good because I took the time when they were little. That I didn't drop the ball on, but because I was willing to do that, Terry, the complexity came when I then had to hand them back to my ex-wife and then go to work. And there was a fine line of work there, man. I didn't shortchange them time, but boy, it really compressed everything.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fucking shit, let me tell you.
Yeah, I bet.
I
believe it.
I don't regret any of it. I just think I got really fortunate. There's some rough moments along the way, of course, relationships, divorces, and all that stuff. But
you ain't got to tell me.
Yeah, brother. I'm on number 3 now. It's working out great, but I'm on number 3.
I'm glad it's working.
The second one destroyed the business, but we won't get into that deeply. But the great thing through it is I got my sanity through it all.
Yeah.
I still have the memories, the stories and all that. I got a great new career. Like I said, I'm just I don't deserve what I have. Like I don't deserve.
You do deserve it.
It's a weird definition of deserve.
You gotta be careful with the word deserve.
I guess.
Because the things that we say about ourselves, because Bruce Lee even said, like, even joking about yourself can be detrimental. And
I believe that.
And I didn't even realize, like, even when I was doing like comedy routines and shit, you know, I was doing self-deprecating stuff where I'm talking about myself and my life and I'm making fun of it. And it's one thing to laugh with people and laugh about it, but at the same time, I didn't realize how damaging it was to me, because it's like, wow, man, I'm up here like telling myself, like, you know, my depression, my shit. Yeah. But I need to tell the story and not feel the pain of it.
Right.
So
like separate yourself from it.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where I'm at when I say deserve. I know deserve's got some negative connotations. I made plenty of mistakes along the way, and things fortunately always seem to work out.
But if you didn't make those mistakes, we wouldn't be here having a conversation.
100%. 100%.
We wouldn't be having if I didn't fuck up and do the shit that I did. And you know, I've had my issues with my partners and relationships, and you know, sometimes
relationships are tough.
They're difficult. And you know, I was
especially when you're an entertainer. When you're willing to put your face out there. Now with me it was different, but I had to put my face associated to this Boogie Street thing to go sell product, and then marry myself up with these other people that are entertainers, right? Yeah. So that was different. But you're an actual entertainer. You're willing to put your face out there. That kind of stuff presents complexity to relationships. It does. Any way you look at it.
You know what it is? Even if you're not an entertainer, it's ego. Like, like I said, I've been doing like deep diving.
Right on.
In the soul
when
the
don't
last
you?
2 years. Well, yeah, you know, but the last 2 years have been even crazier. But the one thing that I learned is it's really ego, and it's really taking time to realize that you don't always have to be right. You don't always have to be in charge. You don't always have to take care of everyone. You don't always have to do these things. You have to trust in God. And my grandma passing away, because I lost my other grandma before that, a few years, and Grandma Jones was the last, you know, grandparent I had, because her husband, my granddad Jones, died when I was 1, but my grandpap Lefty, which was my mother's father, he died when I was in 4th grade or something like that. Okay. So I was like my daughter's age now, or a little bit older. And the thing is that I never realized, she always told me keep faith of a mustard seed and how important that is. And I love my mom for this, but she bought me a plaque that says the faith of a mustard seed for Christmas, because she knows how much I miss my grandma. Sure. And my grandma pretty much, you know, raised me while I was little. While they were working, my parents always had to work late nights. Right on. So my grandma was who I was with throughout, like, huge chunk of my life.
Yeah, for sure.
Introduced me to church and everything. But the faith of a mustard seed that Grandma Jones said made me realize the separation we have between humanity and spirituality, right? Okay. So those relationships were hard for me because I didn't realize that, you know, one in particular wasn't that hard because of, I didn't think it was because of ego. It wasn't because of like entertainment. I just wanted that person to support me, and they didn't. Got it. And they weren't supportive. Got it. And they didn't believe in me. And no matter what bigger thing happened, they just weren't riding with me on it. So it was difficult to deal with as a partner. You know what I mean? Yep. But sure do. I wasn't like, yo, you know, I had lost a ton of weight and stuff, so I wasn't like rubbing it in her face or anything. Right. But there was ego there where it was just like, oh, I'm not going to support you. I'm not going to do this. And then when that person was ready, I wasn't ready. And then when I wanted to fix it, they weren't ready. So there was no balance, right? Then I get with the mother of my children, and with that relationship, it was tough because when things first happened, I didn't want to be a dad. Oh, right on. You know, I wasn't ready to be a dad. Yeah. In my mind, I never thought I was ever going to have kids. I didn't. It's just never, it was nothing I thought. And, you know, once we worked on that, my ego got in the way because I felt like she was pushing me away. I was like, oh, she's pushing me away. She's pushing me away. We were sleeping in separate rooms while she was pregnant, like all kind of stuff. Well, me being an entertainer, me now being on radio, me being the man now to people. I'm young. I'm making a shit ton of money, even though I'm working extra hard for it. I'm working a job. I'm working a radio. I'm doing stand up. I'm getting whatever it is. I'm making the most money I've ever made in my life.
Right.
I'm now making 6 figures at that time. And it's like, yo, I'm killing shit. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm hot shit. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, I never, even though I tried to make sure she was good, I always paid the bills. I always made sure everything was good in our household. I wasn't making sure that things were good. More so emotionally, I guess. And we had no spiritual foundation in our relationship. Mm-hmm. So me being egotistical and being the entertainer, I'm entertaining people I ain't supposed to be entertaining.
Right on.
I'm not ashamed to say it.
Yeah.
But, so through our relationship, while we're trying to fix things, I'm feeling like I'm still not getting support. I'm not getting anything. And it was like egos are clashing.
Sure.
One person has other demands. Other person has other demands. Mm-hmm. And then it was to the point where, I was driving myself insane, as all men do. Mm-hmm. We drive ourselves insane trying to prove our love. But sometimes we don't even know the real definition of love because men are taught what? We're taught love is pay for everything, provide, and we drive ourselves we put ourselves into a young grave because we're doing this. That's why men die so young.
It's a slog, right?
Exactly. So for me, I started realizing, and then the next relationship, I finally feel like I got it right. But there are people who are built on love and people who are built on survival. Mm-hmm. And I started realizing I was in relationships with all people who were built on survival. Yeah. And I had 2 parents. Yep. And only one of them had 2 parents, but they were built on survival. Right. So when you have these people that are built on survival instead of love, it's hard for them to open up. Right. And then when they do open up, you can't make no mistakes. Mm-hmm. And then when you open up, then sometimes us people built on love end up becoming someone on survival. So when I started realizing these things about like how the ego gets to us in relationships and how it's hard, I've seen people who work at McDonald's have the same ego as somebody that's selling out an arena. You know what I mean? Because they're like, I'm the breadwinner in the household. I'm the man. When I go to the bar, all the bitches love me, and it's like, bro, you're a manager at Mickey D's. Calm down. Your woman can go get, and and the thing with us too as men, we always feel like we could, I'm good. I could go get something younger. I could go get something better. I could go get, you ain't going to do it for me. Somebody's going to do it. Women have a specific skill where they can upgrade at any time. And in a drop of a dime.
Yep.
But at the same time, I had to learn we could do it too. Mm-hmm. And I had to learn that we have to have faith and foundation for ourselves.
It's just different.
Yeah, as men. Yeah. Because we don't give ourselves enough of that. We don't give ourselves enough self-love and care, and we're just driving ourselves insane.
We're not instilled. The society's never shown us that we're supposed to do that.
No. Yeah, they're not, because I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, yo, we were never given tools.
No, hell
no. The tools that you were given was a fucking G.I. Joe, Beetlejuice, Batman, Ghostbusters.
$6 million man.
$6 million man.
Don't date me.
Fucking
Lee Majors.
Fucking Clint Eastwood. The most hyper-masculine movie of all time is The Predator.
Oh,
and I had a conversation, and me and my boys, we had this conversation, and I said, "There's no movie, there's no movie more hyper masculine and toxic masculine than The Predator." And then they were like, "Well, what about Rambo?" I was like, "No." And they said, "Oh shit." I said, "The first Rambo, he just wanted a sandwich. That's all he wanted. He wanted something to eat, and they fucked with him the whole movie, literally."
True.
And I said, from the start, and Roadhouse is like a close second or third.
Oh shit, Swayze,
you know,
right?
Swayze, man. So, you know, you go into Arnold and you look at Arnold, right? And as soon as the movie starts, he's getting off a chopper with a tight ass Ralph Lauren polo, and I have that exact polo at home. And he has a cigar in his mouth. The music's playing. Dun, 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 dun. He goes in instantly. What's the first thing he does? He's talking to the major, and the dude goes, because Carl Weathers, because somebody told him that you're a good one and that you could get him out. Dylan, you son of a bitch. They dap up, and what do we get?
Good.
What do we get? We get the muscles with the oil showing, and then it goes
Hollywood.
It goes into a helicopter with Jesse the Body Ventura. Little Richard's playing. He's chewing tobacco. I forget the other dude's name. He was so dangerous. He had to get a bodyguard on set.
Or something?
No, he's a Native American. He had to get a bodyguard, not to protect himself from them, but it was so that they would leave him alone because he was so crazy. It was the dude Billy that cut his chest and wanted to fight the Predator.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I know. So, I can visually see him.
Yeah, so every character died because they went alone to fight the Predator. Of
course.
Every single character that died thought they were tough enough to take on the Predator. And it shows the importance of unity and how the importance of brotherhood and taking care of yourself as a man. You have a guy who's shaving with no shaving cream. It's just sweat and a razor the whole movie. He's shaving. What the fuck? What the fuck? and this is what we grew up seeing, you know, we were like,
you're right.
So
you're right.
I think, you know, for us, just building that foundation, having faith and knowing that we need to take care of ourselves as men and that we're allowed to be what we want. We're allowed to love. We're allowed to, you know, enjoy things. You know, my community, they're real weird about like hair and specific things. And, you know, I'm gonna wear my hair how I want.
Still?
Oh, bro, they're always gonna be like that.
Okay.
But it's because of the toxic masculine idea of what a man is. And nobody has ever been taught that a man is something more than just your granddad who was stressed out coming from the steel mill.
Got it.
Or your dad who was stressed out coming home from work needing to crack open a beer.
Yeah.
And we didn't understand it. We didn't know. You know, when my granddad came back from Korea, they didn't know he had PTSD. He was a wild dude and he was hurting people. But nobody's thinking, yo, this is a war vet, and this is during a time where they didn't
the reasons
care.
why he's acting that way.
Exactly. So I think it's important for us, even in our relationships and learning, you know what I mean? Like for me, trying to get into relationships, like I took a year of celibacy, just a whole year, complete celibacy after my last breakup.
Okay.
I said, yo, one of the problems that I feel like I'm having is because of lust. Yeah. So
it's driving your decision making.
It's to a degree. It can. Yeah, it can. To a degree, it was just like, even after the breakup, my last breakup, it's like, okay, these other girls want to link up. Let me go link up with them. You know, and I'm always very respectful and low key about the women that I deal with or date or whatever. But, you know, it's just like, then I started realizing, I was like, yo, and then my spiritual advisor, it's my medium. She's like, yo, I'm just letting you know, on the other side, they're saying sex ain't going to fix things. And I was like, you're right. So I took a year of celibacy and just worked on myself spiritually. Right on. And took care of the kids. And I saw a huge difference because, you know, as men, we're just thinking, oh, this is masculinity.
I think we sometimes think that defines your masculinity.
It does, yeah.
As a man, you know.
Because, well, think about nature. When you're a kid, you turn on the Nature Channel. What do you see? You see a bear humping another bear. You see a moose humping a moose. Mountain lion. You see it all, right? You see
even the insects.
Yeah. You see the praying mantis chop off a dude's head after having sex. So, you know, as men, you're taught like the male species in general of all nature is just out there pumping. So, you know, you associate that with masculinity. But when I took that time of celibacy and really gave myself a spiritual moment and said, if whenever I get back into it, I'm gonna make sure that it's with somebody that is deserving of it, not just giving it away.
Got it.
Because the same way that they try to tell women that they shouldn't just give sex away, and
it's reciprocal.
Yeah,
it's both ways.
But we're not taught that. We're just taught to go out there. So by taking that time and spiritually like really dissecting things with the universe and how we live and challenging the ideas for us as men, it helped me understand how damaged I was and how much it was a detox of healing. And we don't realize we need that detox in our lives spiritually, and how important it is to build our own foundations, because someone built this building. If you built it as a realtor, do you think you could build a building by yourself?
No.
Do you think you could go out there and build a foundation and then someone build a house on top?
I guess I could. I don't know if I'd want to.
Do you trust yourself to do that?
Not without getting advice, not getting like the professionals.
Exactly. So what I've learned through that time is we don't build our own spiritual foundation enough. And it's to the point where the foundation that we're building is us trying to pour the cement ourselves, and we're mixing it wrong, and we're sinking.
That's a good metaphor.
But I realize we have to build a spiritual foundation, and when you get a partner, they have to be on that spiritual foundation with
100%.
you, or it's going to fail. And that's where the ego comes in, because everybody talks about the devil, but the devil is nothing but your ego.
Right. 100%.
We think of the ego. The ego needs to align with ourselves in order to figure out. So spiritually, there are 7 chakras. If you're into the spiritual world and the idea of what chakras are, and chakras are in different points of our bodies, and those are what balance us to be unionized as a whole person, right? To be better. And you see it in Hindu,
right?
You see it in other forms of spirituality. They call it different things, right? I have on right now Yggdrasil, the tree of life.
Okay.
And the tree of life has the different spheres of around the world, and that's the 9 spheres and areas of the Norse world. So you go to where, so when you think of it, the tree is like our body, right? So 7 chakras, how many deadly sins are
there? 7.
Okay. So there's 7 deadly sins or 7 chakras. Each sin probably aligns up with a chakra, right?
Probably.
So I had to realize, what are the things that, like, out of those 7 that damage me the most?
Okay.
And you start going through the 7 deadly sins: lust, pride, greed, gluttony. There's so much in there. Envy. Which ones are stopping me from being the best me? What is stopping me from being the best man that I could be?
And what did you land on?
I mean, I was celibate, so we know what I landed on.
Okay.
So
you identified that.
I identified as one of the problems, and
that's probably that would resonate with most men, I would think.
I mean, even if it's not lust, like, it could be envy.
Yeah.
What if
envy's a heavy one, man?
Envy holds a lot of people back.
That's a scourge of the world. Envy.
It is.
It makes no sense to me.
So, that's the thing that, like, I started learning about, like, the importance of how to build a relationship, just with people, your friends, relationships, partners, whatever, is that we have to put ego aside. And then 100%. if you recognize, because people know the word ego, but they don't deep dive and understand what ego really is. And like my grandma said, keep the faith of a mustard seed, keep going. And I'm like, okay, so that means I got to put ego aside. And I have to trust in God's plan for me. So that's why I say, when you say
it's hard for an entertainer to do that, though.
Oh, it is, because
harder for entertainers. I should say.
Everything's given to you, right? Because I could go to a bar after a show and there's drinks. I could go to after a show and there's girls. I could, there's girls on social media that are going to message me that whatever it is. That's just
easier access.
It's there's too much access. And sometimes we give people too much access to us. And that's where this all comes full circle. What I'm saying is, when you say, which is why I don't want you to ever say the term deserve. Mm-hmm. I want you to come up with another term.
All right, I'll do that. Next time you see me, I'll have a new one.
Have a new term. You deserve everything you have.
Mm-hmm.
You deserve your partner. You deserve the love of your children.
Mm-hmm.
You deserve this fucking studio. You deserve this show.
Mm-hmm.
Everything aligned.
It did.
For you to have this, right?
It did.
With that being said, that's also a part of giving too much access to ourselves. And I had to realize, like, growing up, my friends would sell drugs, and they started early. Like, I mean, there were kids on the corner at 10.
Damn.
And my oldest daughter's 7. So it freaks me out sometimes.
Put in perspective, right?
You know what I mean? I mean, my kids are good. They live in the suburbs.
Right
they get fruit snacks when they want. They watch YouTube. I'm paying fucking tons of money for this rent, tons of money for this fucking internet. I'm trying to buy a house now. Like, I'm trying to get my shit. But, they are blessed. And my parents worked hard, and I was blessed. And my parents worked hard, and they had a nice house in Penn Hills, but I was never there because, they had to work. Yeah. And they had to work so that I could be blessed with the things that I had. And because of that, I was always in the hood.
Right on.
So when I was with my grandma and I would be there, my friends were on the corner selling drugs at 10, 11, and 12. And the drug dealer would come up to him like, yo, I'll get you a nice little outfit, and they go get an outfit down East Liberty. And that's when all the little urban stores was there. And they get, I got some new Timbs. I got a new chain. I got a new hat. Okay. You can make this. You make money on this corner. You could get this all the time. Oh, okay. So then those 2 outfits became the same 2 outfits that I always seen them in. And
right on.
I kept seeing. So with that, I grew up around, I lost my first friend, and I mentioned it in that essay, to gun violence when I was like 8 or 9.
Damn.
And again, in the perspective, my daughter is 7. His mom's boyfriend or ex-boyfriend or whatever came in, killed him, killed his newborn sister, and killed his mother.
Damn.
And it was on America's Most Wanted. His name was Kevin. And when I think of that situation, because that's like one of the first friends I remember, because he's a friend of the family, and his mom was friends with my mom and my aunts. And when I think of that, and I think of the kids that were selling drugs, and even into our teenage years when they started getting locked up in juvie, into prisons, and having family members that were in prison and losing people to gun violence and all this shit. When I think about all that, I think about myself, and I think about everything aligned. And I know my mistakes, and I know what haunted me and what bothered me, and I destroyed those demons, and I faced them head on. And I am now okay with being the villain in whoever story I'm a villain in.
Right on.
And I'm okay with being a villain in my own story, because our ego prevents us from reaching that next plane, which is, I am okay with being the villain in my story. Because it doesn't matter. As long as I do what I'm supposed to do and what I'm doing right. Correct. If I'm the villain, I'm the villain. Correct. I'm the villain in your story. That's cool. Correct. But this is my story. I'm the main character here, baby. So when you think of it like that, I look at all that stuff, and I look at them, and I look at me, and I look at how many people I've given access to me that did not deserve access, including sexually. And I'm saying this as a man, because most men won't say this. I've given so many people access. The little boy that was hanging out with the kids that were on the corner, thanks to my good friend and one of my favorite people in the world, Dr. Nancy Burke, reached out to me and put me in Forbes magazine about the Will Smith and Chris Rock thing. She had access to hundreds of other famous comedians.
Of course.
And she respected and loved me enough to reach out to me.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't have to, but she did. That little boy who was on the corner with his friends they were selling dime bags and getting locked up and getting shot at and everything, and all the bullets I dodged throughout my life, all the bullshit I dodged, all the issues with women, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Made it into Forbes.
Yeah, it landed over there.
And that's not something that anybody in my family would have probably, I mean, they expected me to do great things, but my point is, like, over this last 2 years, the reason that success is hitting me the way it is because before, when I was getting success, my ego was so big and I was self-sabotaging myself.
Right.
Because we do that.
Oh, no doubt.
We don't know we deserve it. We don't think we deserve it, right? I was self-sabotaging myself. So with that being said, throughout those years of doing what I was doing, I was letting my ego get the best of me. And, I did this. And God was like, nope, take it back off. Y'all give it back to you when you're ready.
Right on.
These last 2 years, because I've aligned, I keep the faith of a mustard seed and I do all the things that I'm supposed to. I realize, just like you have those moments that haunt you or that hit here.
Sure.
I have a lot of those as well. And even though our journeys are different, where what I saw may be different than what you saw, or how you grew up may be different how I grew up, we still meet here today.
Yep.
In this same plane of existence.
We do.
Where we are discussing.
Yes, we are.
What all this is. And you start realizing you don't need to give people access to you that don't deserve it. You actually are allowed to say no. You can look at your life and say, I have an extraordinary life. And when you say you were young and you're like, I didn't take time to take it all in. Now is our time to take it all in.
I think you're right. I think
you know what I mean?
That's what I'm trying to orchestrate. And I have been the last couple of years. I've been trying to have amazing conversations in a world where no one talks anymore.
Yeah.
And trying to do things that enrich my experience, so to speak. You know what I mean? And then maybe that's the way I'm finally rewarding myself.
You know? But you get what I'm saying. You are extraordinary. And
I don't know about that. But
yeah, shut up, man.
No, I mean,
you ain't got to say it. I'll say it for you.
He's my friend. Take it with a grain of salt.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, we are extraordinary people. And it doesn't have to be an ego thing.
Right.
We are blessed. And when you take those blessings and you understand them and you take them in deeper, you start taking in and breathing in. Like, all the people that I've worked with, a little boy, that same little boy that was hanging out with his friends and his friends were selling drugs on corners, manifested all of this shit.
Right on.
And I remember being a kid watching Friday and watching John Witherspoon and thinking he was funny, and watching Sinbad movies and watching Eddie Griffin and watching Damon Wayans. Is it coincidence that I worked with them? Absolutely not. There's no way. God was like, little boy, you're going to get these.
Yeah, I got that same feeling growing up, like loving rock and roll and being this crazy Kiss fan. And then Paul Stanley was like my childhood hero. And then, like, is it any coincidence that,
no,
all these years later, I'm there and there he is.
You manifested
We're doing this. Yeah. But I don't. Yes, I think I had a part in it, but I don't think that that is a normal thing. I think that it was a very unique moment, and I just think maybe I didn't take I didn't revel in it,
I don't think you don't revel.
It's weird.
You can't revel in it in the moment because there's so much going on when you're new to it.
I guess.
And you're young.
Yeah, I guess.
Like, think about Mike Tyson. Whenever I think of redemption, the ultimate face of redemption is Mike Tyson.
No doubt.
Mike Tyson went to jail for
he's like a Buddha master or a Zen master.
Yeah, he went to jail for sexual assault. He was abusive, but everyone labeled him a monster. But nobody ever talks about Dr. Frankenstein, who created the monster. And that's his life before that. He grew up in Brooklyn. His mom, I believe, was a prostitute.
Yep.
He dealt with things. He lost the one person that was considered Customato. And I heard that he used to hypnotize him, actually.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, Cuss helped him become this amazing boxer. I'm not entirely sure Cuss was great of an individual.
Well, even
or great of an influence.
I heard he hypnotized him. He would hypnotize him into like doing like
being machine.
Yeah, pretty much.
A killing machine.
But he also taught him like basic like a blueprint. He was building him a foundation.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna say he's the best person in the world.
Yeah.
But that was his person.
Oh, he didn't have anybody else either.
Exactly. But that person was at least good enough to keep him out of the shit.
Agreed.
So when you look at Mike Tyson now, this guy has, he's raising his kids. He has his daughter who's being trained by Serena Williams
he seems
for
very
tennis.
Gentle.
He is, yes, he's way happier. He's with his wife. He's
extremely well read.
Yeah. And
his intelligence is the thing that I think no one really understood until recently.
Oh, I knew it.
Well, I mean,
it's because his voice.
It could be his voice too, but I don't think that we ever really gave him, before social media, I don't think he really had a platform to have engaging conversations.
About boxing he did, because his boxing IQ is the highest in boxing.
Yeah, but that's just part of the story.
Exactly.
The real story of being a man is like, this guy is extremely well read.
Yeah, he's brilliant. Yeah. It's because people couldn't take him serious. He's like,
that's not really his fault though. That's like
my favorite band is Kiss.
I saw that meme.
Like the Kiss.
KITH.
Danzig. I love Danzig.
I just like listening to this. I like listening to him pontificate now. I enjoy it because it's some righteous stuff.
It is, and that's the thing about us men, man. We deserve more than we think we do, and we deserve. And it's sad because I don't have any sons. I have daughters, and with my daughters, I want to teach them to make sure that men respect them.
Amen.
Love them and care for them, and do the right things, that they are good characters.
They're beautiful, by the way.
Thank you. Your children.
You're in trouble.
I know you got grown kids.
You are seriously in trouble, man. Because I know that pain right now.
Oh yeah.
I got a 19-year-old going on 40.
I know. I saw you post her. She's beautiful, and
it's just something.
And I was like, Eric, if you need to borrow my Glock,
I'm just gonna call you to take care of the whole matter. Put that mask on and get it done.
Yeah, there you go. The One-Eyed King got the katana ready. But it's one of those things where like I feel like nobody ever prepared us as little boys for what we have to face.
Yeah.
And they just told us what to do, but not what to take.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And, for my daughters, I want to teach them not to force that on anyone. And if somebody doesn't want to do these things, then just leave them alone.
Right on.
But at the same time, I don't want them to think that they could be pushy to men. If a man is upset, he shouldn't be penalized for depression. Mm-hmm. Man should not be penalized for anxiety.
Agreed.
If a man is asking for, that was always a big thing for me, is dealing with my mental health with partners. And, it's like, okay, well, I'm supposed to empathize for you guys.
Yeah.
But what about me? What about me? I'm dying over here.
Right on.
I'm busting my ass. Oh, well, you're not giving me enough time. You're not doing this. Well, you're not paying enough. Well, how much is enough? You ain't got to pay shit. What do you mean? You know what I mean? And it's like you ask yourself, what am I doing? What am I doing? Yeah. We drive ourselves into a grave. My granddad died very young, and my dad lost his father when he was like my age. Mm-hmm. And I always think about that, and I'm like, man, that had to be rough on my dad.
Sure.
But when you're little, you don't think about those things.
Not at all.
And my granddad worked at the mills, and then when he lost his job, he passed away. Mm-hmm. And it's like he was working so long that when that job was gone, he probably just didn't have the same push.
Yep.
And this is a man that came from Bessemer, Alabama. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's really a sad thing when I see it in today's society. Like I think a lot of us adult men who are finding ourselves now, because like I think it was Nicotero. I think it was Frank Nicotero told me his granddad didn't know he had like PTSD. I want to say it was him that told me, and was in World War II or something like that. And we were discussing like mental health, and he was just like, yeah. And then, you know, you had these like people who are in like World War II starting to go to therapy in their old age, like, yo, this is why I was fucked up. Or, you know, some people didn't realize why they didn't hug their kids that much, and they didn't realize, yo, this is why. Like, these are generations that were drafted with no choice. In the war. You know, we didn't get drafted. We enrolled. And a lot of those vets still have those same problems. Certainly. And but what I'm saying is there was a generation of people who didn't enroll at all, who were just like kids and just tossed into the back of vans and sent to Vietnam. My step grandfather, after my Grammy passed, we went over and my mom sold the house, and we found all these photo albums. We found some of his, and Rob, he was white, and Rob,
that's okay.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. But it was just cool. It's different seeing these photo albums versus like our family's photo albums.
Oh yeah,
you know,
I'm sure.
Like the lifestyle and different. But Rob lied about his age to get to Vietnam because his brother died and he wanted revenge. And I looked at these pictures, and here's a 16, 15-year-old who lied to get to Vietnam and had to come back after seeing the shit he saw. And I can't even imagine being 15 and seeing bodies everywhere and blood and the shit that you see in Vietnam. And then coming back and just, you know, having to live the way you do. So I think it's like our place as the OGs. You know, I know you're my OG, but I'm somebody's OG. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, for sure. For sure.
I think it's good for us to share these stories and to let these young people know.
100%.
You're allowed to be loved. You're allowed to have success. And you're allowed to be treated fairly and treated with respect.
And demand to be treated
fairly. And demand
fairly.
it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then people are going to mistreat you.
No doubt.
So you deserve success.
All right, so I deserve it then. God damn it.
Thank you. We all deserve it, brother.
Did you have fun, brother?
I did. Thank you for having me on, man.
You need to like not wait like a year and a half to come back.
No, you know what it was, man. You were busy.
I was busy. I asked
too.
A few times.
No, you didn't. You didn't. You only asked.
I didn't.
No, I have the messages.
I
love you.
I thought
but
I did.
You didn't. No,
I thought I did. Well, we need to make this like an every couple months thing.
Oh, bro. Yeah.
I know that's a commitment on your behalf.
Yeah, yeah. We I think we should go no less than like 4-6 months, man.
Maximum.
You know,
that's how we started out to do. I think that's what we kind of did. The first one.
The first one we did.
It was like 6 months you were back.
And then.
Yeah.
I did the first one. And then the second one.
Was about 6 months after the first one.
It was like December. Yeah, roughly. And then. This one.
Crickets.
2 years later.
Well, if it's on me, then it's on me. But I didn't think it was. But maybe it is.
No, it is, man. I got the messages, bro.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I think you know what it is, bro. We interact with each other on such a loving way.
Yeah.
That we probably just assumed. It's probably like an assumption.
Well, you also were very instrumental in getting other people here for me.
Yeah,
and I was busy talking to you about that. Meanwhile, I should say, "Hey, when are you coming back?"
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't want to wait that long again because because here's the thing, you and a couple others were willing to do this in the beginning, take a chance on the show in the beginning and spend the time. And now, so I mean, I wouldn't still be doing this if it wasn't for people like you that believed in it in the beginning. Because I know when you walked in the first time, it was a little nuts in here, but you were like, "Holy shit, what the hell's going on here?"
No, the first time I walked in your studio, I loved it, and I love this just like even more. And this
it's the same but more.
But here's the thing: the more is what we just talked about, and that's the growth, the beauty, the success.
Yeah,
it's in this room, and you see it. It's bigger. You know what I'm saying? It's bigger and better. And then wait till the next studio. The next studio, you're going to have a fucking What Joe Rogan got? He got like a portable fucking studio or something on wheels and shit.
Well, hats off to Joe. I mean, I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for him showing that the people actually wanted to have conversations.
Oh yeah,
like the sound bites aren't ruling the world.
Oh yeah, fuck the sound.
How can they reach you, man? If you can't find him, you're really not looking hard. But just what are the main ways for folks to contact you?
You could reach out to me on Instagram, T Jones POC. YouTube, T Jones POC, Facebook, comedian Terry Jones.
I know you have a TikTok, right?
Yeah, I do. Team Terry Pro. I'm trying to get big into
Spotify.
But yeah, on anything, Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, Amazon, Google, anything you're streaming on. Terry Jones.
Why don't you have a website?
Because nobody needs them anymore.
I like my website.
Oh, nobody goes to websites anymore.
Yeah.
Well, you're
a realtor
yours
too.
Is different.
So we'll also have a legacy thing there with Boogie Street. It's just a historical thing.
That's different.
You know what I mean?
That's different. But as far as I had a website. It was teamterry.tv, and I don't have it anymore because it was just it
was just sitting there.
It was sitting, but nobody really goes to websites anymore.
Yeah.
When they can see everything everywhere.
No, you're everywhere else.
Yeah,
I get that. One last thing I want to tell you, too. We are, one of the things at Boogie Street we did, and I know you've seen the Boogie Street T-shirts over the years. People are wearing them, but we are relaunching the Boogie Street clothing. We're just going to do little runs of shirts.
Okay.
And we're going to do what we did back in the old days because clothing wasn't the forte. We were in the guitar business. Yeah. Clothing was a thing that just happened. Well, I'm not going to go back in the guitar business, Terry, but I'm going to bring the shirts back, and $5 every shirt's going to be going to St. Jude's. We're going to marry up with St. Jude's.
Okay.
And we're just going to put it out there and see where it runs.
Nice.
But we'll get you some swag to kind of
I'll rock
help me push it, brother.
Bro, listen, I'll rock it.
You know what I mean? It's good for a good cause, too.
Yeah, I'll wear it.
And we raised a lot of money. The first round, and I want to see what we can do again. The brand still seems to have power, so we might as well exploit it, right?
Yeah, I'm excited to see what the designs look like, man.
I think you'll like it, man.
Yeah, bro. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
This has been great. It's always fun sitting with you. You're a brilliant guy.
I mean that.
You're very good at what you do. This is a successful show.
Well, we're having fun, brother.
Oh yeah, man. Hey, real quick, one last story before I go.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh, also check out my new single, JTB. JTB stands for John the Baptist.
Yep.
You'll see me on the cover. The one-eyed king with his head cut off and a sword through the head. My youngest daughter thought I was dead. She they went to, they went to their mom's house and Eris, my oldest, she was like on her tablet and she was like. Play JTB, because they're like huge fans, and that's why because Frizzy's one of their favorite rappers. So I had to get him on a song, and we had to do a song together, and it's a great song. Shucky Ducky was the other one.
Yep.
But on JTB, she saw the cover and she's like, "I think Daddy's dead," and then Eris is like, "No, he's not." She's like, terrible. She's like, "No, his head is cut off and there's a sword in his ear. I think he's dead." And she's like, "No, when we go back to Daddy's house, you'll see that he's still alive." But real quick, we're talking about manifesting and the awesomeness of being that young child who grows into something special, and where we're at today. And so when I was a kid, I like Sinbad.
Yeah, right on.
Huge Sinbad fan. So one day, my dad comes in with these movies, right? And we used to watch the Funk tours, and he used to pay that all with his own credit card. And he put together these extravagant HBO specials, and it would have P-Funk and the Temptations.
I remember
all the greatest shit.
I remember.
Right? I mean, he came down on a string and flew down to the stage. So, I'm at my aunt's house in Belsuver, and we go past this playground. And the playground, they're filming something. We go, "What are they filming?" And they're filming House Guest, right? Years later, I found out it was House Guest when I was a kid. Get the hell out of here. So we went past. Sinbad was there. He's at the playground in Belsuver. So go home, and a few weeks pass, and get a phone call from my dad. My mom's on the phone with my dad, and she goes, "Oh, guess what?" And then he goes, "I sold shoes to Sinbad. Sinbad came in, right?" So Sinbad came in and bought shoes off my dad at Little's, which is a legendary shoe
Little's,
store.
yeah.
So
I got shoes from Little's.
Yeah, so Sinbad bought some shoes off my dad. Smokey Robinson did too, plug. But so, you know, fast forward, my dad brings home these movies one day, right? And it's VHSs. And one is RoboCop 3, House Guest, and First Kid. 2 of them are Sinbad movies. Okay. So I watch them, and I'm all excited about these Sinbad movies. And I'm just a little kid just sitting there watching Sinbad. So my dad gets me a Rottweiler. We go pick out a puppy. What did I name him? Sinbad. Because I'm a Sinbad fan. So I'm like, oh man, Sinbad, this is great. And I had this Rottweiler Sinbad and had him till I was 18. Okay. I got him when I was like 9 and he passed away. Okay. So fast forward and I'm on Twitter and I tell Sinbad, hey, you know, we're going back and forth and I'm replying on stuff and I'm talking to him. I say, hey man, I named my dog after you, right? He's like, oh, that's funny. So fast forward a little bit later, like a couple years later, working with him at the casino, right?
That's cool as shit.
Thousands of people, right? Crowd.
That's cool as shit.
Yeah, right? It's crazy. It's Titantron and they put you on the big screen so the people in the back can see. It's all these people and it's a big stage. And I'm like, yeah, this is going to be a great moment, right? I'm with Sinbad, right? And I usually don't get starstruck and I wasn't starstruck, but it was just a great moment,
yeah, that's
right?
Shit.
The person that makes me starstruck is a guy named Buffo the Clown and he used to rip phone books at our school and tell us not to do drugs. But that's the only person that makes me starstruck to this day. But I'm in the back with Sinbad. My boys are on stage. They're opening. And I'm featuring. So I'm going to go right before Sinbad. Right I'm doing 30 minutes before Sinbad, the legend himself. And we're in the back and he's talking. I say, hey, man. Hey, nice to meet you. I'm Terry Jones. I'm be going up. He's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. And he's nice. And I go, I had a dog, a Rottweiler, and I named him after you because I was a huge fan. And he goes, oh, man, that's funny. I said, just to bring this all full circle, how crazy this all is. Not only that, but when you were filming House Guests here, my dad sold shoes to you. He goes, wait a minute. There's only a couple places I could buy specific shoes because of my shoe size. And your dad's spot is one of them. And the other place is in Detroit. I remember your dad, man. I definitely remember him. Shit. Yeah, he has like a photographic memory. So I'm like, oh shit, yeah. My dad, he's like, is he here tonight? I said, yeah. So he goes up. I go up. I'm like, I gotta kill at this point because I just talked to him and I don't want him to be like, oh, this kid sucks. Now. You know. So I do the damn thing. I get off stage.
Right.
Oh no. He goes, hey man, good set. Don't go anywhere. I'm gonna bring you back up. Okay. So he brings us up. He roasts us. He talks about, you know, he jokes with us, whatever he talks. So he's on his set. He's doing his set, and he goes, hey, man, where's your dad at? Looks over to the side while I'm by the steps. I go, he's out there. He goes, hey, where's Terry's dad at? My dad goes, I'm right here. So my dad's sitting up like front, and he's in a sea full of all these people, right? So it's like my dad standing up in a sea of thousands of people. And, you know, goes, hey, man, I remember you. You was a shoe salesman, man. You was a good shoe salesman, man. You could have, I mean, real good. You could have sold anything in the world to put your kids through college. You could have sold drugs, but you didn't. You sold shoes. And you was such a good shoe salesman. And you told me my shoes would expand, and they never did. And that's how Sinbad came full circle.
That's fucking great, man.
Thanks, bro. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. Terry Jones. We're out.